Matthews, episode 4 already. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, and you? What's going on, man?
Honestly, I've had kind of a shitty day. I'm not going to lie to you. I've had a shitty day. You ever take darkroom photography in college or high school?
Never.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it sucks. It's brutal. I've done the same goddamn project, I think 3 or 4 times, and I'm about to pull my hair out trying to deal with it. My teacher's this old hag. She doesn't know what she's doing anymore, and it's just like, I can't deal with it anymore. I'm glad to be on the show. And do you want to know why I'm glad to be on the show, Chris?
Why?
Because I whooped your ass in picks this week. That's why. I had a good week, boys. I
knew you was going to say that.
I had to.
I knew you was going to say that.
This is the first time I can actually sit here and brag to your face that I actually got more games right this week. I'm telling you, it feels great. I'm not going to lie to you. It feels phenomenal.
Well, that Rams game was a little
Chris, come on now. Chris, come on now.
That pass interference changed the whole dynamic of that game.
It really did. We'll get to that in a minute. Before we get into anything further, thank you to our sponsor, bostonsbig3.com. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, check it out. A brand new website for the entire Boston's Big 3 network. We have the New Guys pod. We have Boston's Big 3 itself, Stafford and Matthews, and a couple more on the way. A little bit more on that as we go along here. But check it out. Great line of merch coming up right now. Cam Dude's all over the page right now. A lot of interesting stuff coming down the line as well. A new line of Patriots t-shirts coming out as well. So keep your eye on bostonsbig3.com. Now the boring stuff out of the way, we had a great week of football, Chris, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. It was a good week. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, I thought I had a good time too. Starting on Thursday night, though, wasn't a great start for us in our picks. Jaguars and Dolphins. Final score 31-13. Miami takes it, and Ryan Fitzpatrick adds to his resume as the best September quarterback of all time.
Yeah, it was crazy. I really thought that Minshew Mania would have done better, but I don't know. Maybe that luck has ran out.
I'm about to say maybe not, and maybe so. We need a more sample size, I think. Take it week by week now.
Yeah, and to think that it was against Miami. Now I'm struggling to pick between a defense to go against Miami or a defense to go against the Jets. I don't know which one to pick for my fantasy.
I'll tell you right now, it's the Jets because Sam Darnold is looking horrific as ever, and it's embarrassing because my buddy Trevor, my roommate, is a huge Jets fan, and we rag on him all the time. And eventually, like it's only 3 weeks into the season, 4 weeks into the season. And we've already broken him. Like, I went and got to make fun of him the other day, and he was just like, yeah. Like, he was just, like, depressed about it. I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
I'm pretty sure he's not even watching football anymore.
He's not. He was doing some homework on Sunday, so that'll tell you a lot. But getting into the game here, Miami and Jacksonville. Ryan Fitzpatrick had a great day, 18 of 20, 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. But on the ground, 7 rushes and 38 yards and a touchdown, too, with a wild juke in the middle of the field. What did you see from Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Miami Dolphins this week?
Man, the guy has still got it. He's showing you that, age is nothing but a number, and that as long as you stay healthy and you keep on eating your greens, you'll be able to stay out there.
I agree. And he actually recently came out, I think today, and said Buffalo was his favorite NFL city. Buffalo.
That's pretty crazy. I wouldn't have never guessed that, but okay.
He's playing in Miami right now. Well,
why wouldn't you want to be there? Why wouldn't you want to be there?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you want to go back to Buffalo? Like, I don't understand.
I would never said that. I know. As a organization, they probably have to look at that. Like, okay,
yeah, you're doing something right, I guess, right? Yeah. All right, but going back into this game here, Devontae Parker had a great game as well. 5 receptions for 69 yards and no touchdowns. But honestly, a great game for the big wideout in Miami. Another big guy, though, Mike Gesicki, 1 catch, only 15 yards and a touchdown, though. He's transforming into one of the better red zone targets in the NFL.
Yes, he is, and that's saying a lot when you have Kittles and Kelsey and them. Even though they're hurt, but. He's doing his job. He's being a great professional at his job right now.
100%. And going to the other side of the football here for Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew struggled. 30 of 42 passing, 275 yards in the air and an interception, no touchdowns. Minshew Mania looked off today or on Thursday. I think he can bounce it back a little bit, but it's kind of weird because I'm getting this little inkling here that Jacksonville's GM is smiling ear to ear about it. And that really pisses me off because I think it's ethically it's wrong to want to tank your season. I think it's very, very wrong. I hate that line of thinking. I understand you need to rebuild, but to intentionally gut your team to make sure you lose more games is so disrespectful to every single guy and every coach on that roster. And I hate that line of thinking. I really hope, and I said this before on the preseason power rankings here, I think Gardner Minshew will win one game enough so they don't get Trevor Lawrence, just to say fuck you to that GM and that owner in Jacksonville, because I really think it's despicable what they're doing to that team down there.
Absolutely. It's not something that is even ethical. At this point in time, we're only going into week 3 and you're already trying to tank the season. I would lose all respect for a GM like that. Just to go out to go get a player. I mean, I understand that, the guy is an amazing talent, but we still have family to feed. People out there, they're depending on games to be won. To see a certain person out there to shine and things like that, and to actually get new contracts. So for you to just to tank a season and not care about what's going on is absolute disgrace. That's uncalled for at all the way around.
100%. And things are getting very loose in Duval anyway, because there's been rumors floating around for years now that their owner wants to move into England, wants to move into Britain. And it's like, well, first of all, you're going to tank the season. You're going to gut your entire roster, especially on the defensive side. And then you're going to talk about moving to England in a different fucking country? Are you kidding me? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why do they still have fans? Like, I don't understand.
Well, it's deeply rooted. At one point in time, they were okay. So I can see why they have their fans, but other than that, yeah, the move, that's not going to happen. I don't believe that that's going to happen. The NFL's been trying so long to try to grab fans overseas and sending players out there and teams to grab to grab more fans, and it's just not working. They got to find something else to grab those fans. They need to start looking at the NBA. The NBA is doing a great job at picking up fans all across the world, but right now that's just not a good look. I didn't see not one NBA team tank a season just to get fans overseas.
I agree with you 100% there. Going back to the game in Jacksonville here, James Robinson, who continues to have a great season, 11 carries, 46 yards, and a couple scores on the ground. That's 4.2 yards a carry. Not bad for the young player out of Jacksonville. Was not enough to help him to a W tonight. On the receiving end, James Robinson also actually had 6 receptions for 83 yards, no scores, but 6 targets. Caught all of his passes there. He's looking like a very dynamic weapon in this offense, and I'm very interested to see him down the line, especially if Jacksonville starts winning some games. Your guy Keenan Cole, 4 receptions for 43 yards, no scores. Overall, it was a bad day in Duval County. We're going to move on here, but any last thoughts on this game?
Yeah. No, I don't have anything else going on. We've expressed too much on them.
100%. Going to the first game on the schedule here, Houston and Pittsburgh. Final score 28-21 in favor of Big Ben and the Steelers. Close game all around. Our guy Randall Cobb opens the game up with a bang with a 30-plus yard touchdown. And I really thought, hey, Houston's going to get their first win of the year. I'm so excited for Deshaun Watson, all of them down in Houston. And then Pittsburgh slowly comes back, and it grinds until the very end of the game where Pittsburgh takes the lead. And it's honestly disheartening because I love this Houston offense. I love it. We talked about it with Randall Cobb here.
Absolutely.
The number of guys they brought in from different backgrounds, I mean, such a culturally diverse room, I really thought it would explode. And so far it hasn't, and mostly because of the defensive side of the football. That defense is letting Deshaun Watson down as well. And that's the reason why, your guy Earl Thomas has been talking to Houston Texans about working out. It was actually put on hold recently due to COVID concerns, maybe some other concerns as well. But another, name to keep in your back pocket there, Earl Thomas could be on his way to Houston.
Yeah. It sucks that they're 0-3 right now. You would think that paying D Watt all that money, you would see a lot of change in that offense, which it is a little bit to an extent. But the defense is not doing so well. I feel like J.J. Watt has to figure out a way to regenerate his career right now. He's living off of what he did back in the day, which by all means it's a Hall of Fame career. But right now they need people to step up, especially in that secondary.
100%. And I'm going to quote you here. You said it a million times in this podcast. What have you done for me lately? That's the NFL's mentality. What have you done for me lately?
Absolutely.
And lately, J.J. Watt has not been all that phenomenal. He's been injury prone. He's been average at best on the field. And that's all I'm going to say about it. J.J. Watt,
Yeah,
show me what you can do right now.
absolutely. He's a great professional on and off the field, but productivity is the name of the game. And so if you're not doing that, I don't understand why he's still there. I mean, but there's a couple people that's out there in the NFL right now that's have Hall of Fame careers, but they're not actually producing any at all right now.
Well, I think it's a leadership thing as well. He's a big locker room guy for that
Yeah,
organization.
yeah.
And you need a leader in the locker room when you have Bill O'Brien as your head coach as well. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Going to the stats here in analytics, Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger, 23 of 36 for 237 yards and a couple scores. Big Ben is shaking the rust off, and he's looking very dangerous with a phenomenal defense behind him. So keep your eyes on Pittsburgh down the line here. James Conner added 109 yards on 18 carries and a score, 6.1 yards a carry. The Houston defense just could not contain the run today.
No, and it's crazy to me because all jokes aside, I really do like James Conner, but he's a downhill runner, and it's not like he's cutting or making people miss or things like that. He's not the biggest running back out there, so I don't understand how they're not being able to lay the wood on him, but he's doing his job. And overall, Pittsburgh is just that's the type of team that they are. They're a tough, scrappy, hard-nosed team, and that was a true testament to their game this past week.
Yeah, I have a question for you too, coming from a former NFL perspective here.
Okay.
Do you think City influences the type of football that their teams play? For instance, you see LA teams typically have flashier offenses and less last-lucker defense. You see teams like New England in the early 2000s with these hard-nosed, gritty defenses. You see it right now with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh embodies that mentality through their entire city, blue-collar, blue kind of workers.
Blue-collar, absolutely.
Do you think that city mentality influences how teams build their rosters?
It absolutely does, and I've been saying this for the longest. Teams that are in these, in these certain market-friendly cities like LA and Las Vegas, Miami, teams like that, New York. It's hard for them to figure out what their core mantra is, because there's so much going on in their city where you have superstars, rightfully so, who is trying to make money off the field, but it's taken away from the team, because then you're looking at the top guys, he's going out and having commercials and doing things like that. Then you have the second tier and the third tier guys who honestly are probably wanting to do the same thing or is doing the same thing. And so it's just too much going on in certain cities where I just don't think, teams should be at. But, hey, it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, I've always said that Vegas team is not going to work. I don't believe it at all. They look good, but I don't believe it at all.
100%. Going back to the game here, my guy Booger McFarland Jr., Anthony McFarland, Booger McFarland's kid, 6 carries, 42 yards on the ground, 7 yards a carry. I love this kid at the combine. While he's not great in the open field yet, his speed is unbelievable. His shiftiness is great. His hip work is impeccable. I mean, if a safety wants to read you by your hips, he's going to make you miss. And that's the deadliest quality any running back can have. Because the number one thing these safeties and cornerbacks look at when they're attacking you on the second level here is your hips. You can't go anywhere without your hips. But he's deceptive with it. And I love how he runs the football. I wish the Patriots picked him up during the draft. He actually dropped to the 4th round, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, going to the receiving here. Eric Ebron led the day for Pittsburgh, 5 receptions for 52 yards and a touchdown. Picking up where he left off out of that Indy offense, Eric Ebron looks very good in this offense as well. Juju Smith-Schuster had 4 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown to add on to that score here. And James Conner actually had 4 receptions for 40 yards as well. This team looks very well-rounded to me. It looks solid. It looks complete. I think that's the best word to describe what they're doing right now. And Mike Tomlin might win Coach of the Year. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Actually, I'll go with you on that one. I'll actually go out on a limb with you on that. He's doing an amazing job over there, and they built a core nucleus where guys are just so invested in these in his group of leaders that they have out there. everybody is looking up to them, and they're actually proving it on the field, which is a big thing. You can't just be on talk. You have to, walk the walk and talk the talk. And that's exactly what they're doing. So Mike Tomlin is doing a great job of keeping those guys together. They're believing in one another, and they're going to be they're definitely going to be a scary team in the playoffs.
And I don't want to, make it all about myself here, but I think coming from myself saying that, I think means more to me than hearing you say it, because I've been a huge critic of Mike Tomlin for the past 5-6 years. I think he's been kind of a fraud. I don't think he's been elite as people have described him. I think his Super Bowls were kind of handed to him a little bit on his earlier career here. But I had a turnaround last year after seeing Pittsburgh start, how horrific they were last season. And then he makes a trade for Minka Fitzpatrick, and they win, I think, 7 games to finish the year. My respect for Mike Tomlin started last year, and it's only heightened at this point. Remember, I'm only 20 years old, so I've had a very coming when I was probably 16, I'd say 16 or 15. That's when I started actually paying attention to football, understanding the game more, understanding the scheme, understanding how you build your roster. So that kind of criticism came from my dad, I think, a lot too. But I will say, for myself, I gained respect for Mike Tomlin last year, and now I'm, considering him as the upper echelons of coaching right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been sold on Mike Tomlin since the day he got there. He's gonna have to work through, a couple players that, didn't necessarily was gelling together, especially when he had, the 3 Bs on his team. It's hard to keep that together when, you have so many three top superstars trying to mesh well together, and it just wasn't working at that time. But I felt like he did the right thing, even though I'm a huge Antonio Brown fan. But he had to do what he had to do. The Steelers moved on, and it doesn't look like they missing a step right now.
Maybe we should have AB on the podcast. What do you think about that? Write it down.
Get a pen.
Let's go for that.
Get him out there.
Yeah, AB to ride the wave.
I'm pretty sure he'll be great on the TV right now.
I think he'd be great on the TV too. Let's bring him in. Why not? Here we go. Houston, other side of the football here. Deshaun Watson was 19 of 27 for 264 yards, 2 scores, and an interception. Not a great day for D-Watt. Not a lot of help, I think, around him. Your boy David Johnson had a bad day as well. 13 carries for 23 yards total and a touchdown. A grisly 1.8 yards a carry. And what can Deshaun Watson do without a solid running game to propel his offense?
Well, I think you have to go back to the Steelers. The Steelers is just a really good defensive team. They're very sound, especially on the D-line with Bud Dupree leading the charge out there and, just causing a havoc in the backfield. It's just hard for teams to run on the defense like that. But we've already talked about Houston and our offensive line and how fickle they are. So we need to go ahead and just wipe them to the side. It's hard. This is going to be a little wash year for Houston, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right there. Receiving on the day, though, our boy Randall Cobb, 4 receptions for 95 yards and a touchdown. After making fun of himself, I will say, for only having 22 yards in the opener, has almost a 100-yard game 2 games removed from there. Shout out to Randall Cobb, great guy. Listen to the episode if you haven't listened to it yet, 1.5.
Absolutely, and I was telling you guys, I had the inside scoop on that. I knew that he was gonna come out balling. Nobody wanted to believe me. All my buddies in the back wouldn't even want to believe me about Randall Cobb. They thought he was washed up, but you can't be washed up when you're out there balling like that.
I'm about to say you are 100% right on that one. Going to the next game on the docket here, and this was so disappointing for me. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Philadelphia Eagles hand us the first tie of the NFL season, 23-23. If Joe Burrow had any semblance of an offensive line, he would be undefeated right now. And that pisses me off because he's showing everything you're supposed to see from rookie quarterback. He's showing intangibles. He's showing leadership. He's showing the clutch factor. And his team is letting him down. And it's pissing me off. Get this dude some help. Make a trade at the deadline. Get him something to work with because what you have in Joe Burrow, you cannot possibly mess up. If you put things around him to help him out, he will win you football games. He has had the Bengals in position to win the game all 3 games this year. All 3.
Absolutely.
If he had any semblance of a line or any semblance of a competent defense, he would be 3-0. I am the biggest Joe Burrow stan you will ever find. I think he has the clutch factor in the clutch gene, and I cannot wait to see what Joe Burrow will do in the future with a functional organization and a lot of weapons around him.
Well, I just think that, history has showed that Cincinnati is not a up-to-date organization. They live in the past, and they hold on to things a little bit longer than they should. A couple players that I feel like should be gone by now, and just start fresh. Especially when you get a quarterback like Joe Burrows. This guy is out here is doing ridiculous things. He's almost, honestly, there was one play that he almost actually looked just like Lamar Jackson, where he ran out to the right and spent off of a guy and made a precision throw down the
It reminded me of
sideline.
Russell Wilson actually a little bit as well.
You think so? You can go with him too. Either one, you can't go wrong with it. He's showing you that he is that elite quarterback and that he needs help. That defense, boy, anybody that's going up against that defense, they should be licking their chops because that's the stat game for them.
100% here. Going to the stats here, Joe Burrow was 31 of 44. He passes so damn much in this offense. This is back-to-back weeks of 44-plus attempts in the air for Joe Burrow. That's a lot on a young arm right there. 31 of 44. 312 yards, 2 scores, and no interceptions. That's the key right there. Joe Mixon added 49 yards on the ground on 17 carries for a 2.9 yards a carry. I attribute that more to the offensive line this game more than anything. I think Fletcher Cox ruined this offensive line last week here. But granted, Joe Burrow needs some help from the run game as well. So we need to see some better uptake for the offensive line and for Mixon specifically. In the receiving, Tyler Boyd, 10 receptions, 125 yards, no scores, but a great day for the Cincinnati Bengals receiver right there. And the surprise of the day, rookie T. Higgins, second rounder, 5 receptions, 40 yards, and 2 scores. What do you see from the former Clemson receiver?
I seen an amazing talent. The guy is very good at attacking the ball and keeping his eyes down, keeping his eyes on the ball when he's trying to make those tough catches. He is an okay route runner, but that will come over time as time goes on, and during the off season he'll be able to work out with certain people and be able to hone in on his skills. But overall, his future has been definitely bright.
Yeah, it's cool like hearing that from you as well, because I hear all these jamokes on TV ranking these guys and criticizing these guys that either they haven't played in 30 years or they are just not football players in general. So it's nice seeing a veteran who's recently retired to kind of like take us through this game, which is another reason you should subscribe to us. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, we have the best insight in the game right here.
Well, a lot of people need to understand that, coming off the field and going straight into podcasting is definitely a great thing. I love it. I love being with this guy right here. And, of course, Tony Romo is proving that as well with his broadcasting that he does. And, he's calling out the plays before the ball is even snapped. So, you can only get greatness from here.
I'm saying.
That's
anyway,
what I'm saying.
Exactly. ESPN, pick us up. Anyway, Philadelphia, Carson Wentz, 29 of 47 for 225 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. What in the world is going on with Carson Wentz in this Philadelphia Eagles offense?
No help. He doesn't have no help. And I'm sorry to say this because, my guy D-Jack is out there and he's, trying his hardest, but when you don't have any help, it's hard. It's hard. He can't throw the ball and catch the ball at the same time. You're sitting here talking about you still have Alshon Jeffries is hurt. That guy right there used to be a top player, especially when he was paired with Brandon Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys used to go down the field all the time and make spectacular plays, but now he's just, he's constantly hurt. And there's just not a good look right now. And it's not even a problem. They have to revamp that offense if they want to give Carson Wentz a chance, or if they're just going to move on from Carson Wentz, because that's definitely possible as well.
And that's going to be a big storyline coming down the stretch here, especially if the Eagles can't string together a couple wins in a row here. It will be the question, is Carson Wentz worth the money we're paying him? Because he's taken up, I think 35% of the entire cap. Is that worth it if you're going 0-2-1 to start the year? I'm not so sure. But I like the point you said about his help. Let's go down the list of his receivers right here. Greg Ward, he kind of broke out last year, so he's kind of a recognizable name, right? Zach Ertz, obviously one of the best tight ends in the league. But after that, Deontay Burnett. Nope. John Hightower. Nope. Boston Scott. Nope. Deshaun Jackson only had 4 targets for 2 catches and 11 yards. I mean, when you don't have the depth to work your offense, you don't have any offense at all. Yeah. Granted, he had a great run game going on with Miles Sanders, who's actually breaking out this year, even though his team sucks. 18 carries, 95 yards, no scores, but a 5.3 yards a carry right there. I'm a big Miles Sanders guy, and he's kind of being overshadowed right now in this offense because of how poorly the defense is performing in general. But I will say, he's an electrifying player to watch, and without Saquon Barkley in the NFC East, he might be the best running back in the NFC East.
Yeah.
No. I know what you're going to say. Ezekiel Elliott, right? I know what you're going to say.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I know what you're going to say, right?
You can't just brush past him.
Right, and I'm gonna state my case here right now. And I said might. I didn't say he was definitive. I'm going to state my case, though.
Yeah, okay.
The Dallas Cowboys, top 3 offensive line in the NFL. False or fiction? Right there. That's correct. That's correct.
It's true. It's definitely true.
I said that wrong. My bad. Anyway, that's true. Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz is right now. True or false?
Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. The Cowboys have a better receiving core, one of the best receiving cores in the league compared to the Eagles. Yes or no?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So every conceivable factor in the offense goes to the Cowboys in terms of advantages.
Yeah. Okay.
Ezekiel Elliott has the world by the balls right now because he has a good quarterback. He has the best receiving core in the league, and he has an elite offensive line. What does Miles Sanders have? He has Carson Wentz going 29 of 47 for 225 yards and 2 turnovers. He has his best receiver going for 2 catches and 11 yards. He has his team going 0-2-1, and he has his offensive line in shambles, who will have 8 sacks in the season opener. If you put Miles Sanders on that Dallas Cowboys offense, what does he do? I would argue at least, he performs similarly, if not better, than Ezekiel Elliott does.
Sometimes I just wonder if you're just saying stuff just to say stuff because this is total blasphemy that you are sitting here saying that Miles Sanders is better than Ezekiel Elliott. Am I hearing this right? Let me cut this up. Are you saying that right now, Joe? Like, are you saying that? I can't believe you can't be. We can't be putting disrespect on a Pro Bowler, a consistent Pro Bowler at that. The guy put feed me on his belly for a reason. You can't just put that on there and not produce. He's producing. So Miles Sanders, I get it. He is a really good running back. But when it comes down to elite talent, he's not going past Ezekiel Elliott. No shot. You can't get that past me.
Chris, I want to thank you because I just baited you into a Stephen A. soundbite, and I wanted it. I wanted you to yell at me. I love it. I'm playing Max Kellerman right now. I love it. Back to the game, though. To finish out here, Greg Ward led the Eagles offense here with 8 receptions for 72 yards and a score on 11 targets. He's looking good. Overall, this Eagles offense is looking very, very poor. At the end of the day here, the Bengals and Eagles, Joe Burrow should have won this game. His defense let him down once again. He should be undefeated. I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's kind of sickens me to my stomach, the fact the Bengals are not helping him in any way, shape, or form. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, it's part of football. It's going to keep going.
I know.
Maybe next year they might get somebody. They might trade up and pick up. What's old buddy from the Bulldogs? What's his name?
I've done my scouting yet, Chris.
You haven't? Oh, okay. All right. We'll say that for another segment then. We'll say that for another
What they should do is straight up for an elite offensive lineman. That's what they should do.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm going to say.
They need to not even draft nobody else but offensive linemen for like the first 3 rounds.
I'm with you. Getting to a game that'll make you severely happy. The San Francisco 49ers laid a wallop on the New York Giants 36-9 with literally nobody. With literally nobody.
And you were going against us.
I could have been out there for the Niners on Sunday. I would have won the game. It was unbelievable. Nick Mullins, 25 of 36 for 343 yards and a touchdown. No turnovers. That's the key to the game, as you've said so many times before. On the ground, it was a group effort there. Brandon Ayuk, the rookie, 3 rushes, 31 yards and a touchdown. Jerick McKinnon, 14 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. And Jeffrey Wilson, 12 carries, only 15 yards, but also added a score here. And receiving, Brandon Ayuk leads the way again. 5 receptions for 70 yards, no scores, but a great day overall for the rookie. What did you see from the Niners, who were decimated with injury?
That Jerick McKinnon is a really good running back. You know, in the past, he's had injuries where, you know, rightfully so, you would be concerned with the knee. But, you know, I feel like as time will go on and, you know, most are still being out, that, you know, they're going to start stepping up his touches throughout the year until Mostert gets back. But he's going to be a solid running back. And, you know, our quarterback, he did a good job of just scoring 1 touchdown in the air. We need a little bit more from that. But I'm pretty sure as time goes on, we'll get better with that as well.
I don't mean to piss you off again, Chris, but I think he just played the Jimmy Garoppolo role. He managed the game, let the run game do what it's supposed to do, and they won the game based off that.
You just keep coming for my guys, man. I don't understand why. We keep proving you wrong. This is another week where we don't have anybody out there, and we still win the game.
Proving me wrong.
It was against a subpar team, but still, it's still an NFL. It's still professionals who are the best of the best, and we went out there and proved them right. We went out there and proved you wrong.
But I picked the game. I picked the 49ers.
I know you did, but you always talk about my 49ers.
I talk about Jimmy Garoppolo.
You see this on my head? San Fran. This might be for baseball, but it's still about my 49ers.
But I talked about Jimmy Garoppolo. I didn't talk about the team as a whole. Let's remember that.
No. You definitely talk about my quarterback and my team, period.
Brandon, run the tape. We gotta go back and run the tape. We'll listen to this afterwards. Run the tape.
Run it.
I don't know if I was right or wrong because we don't have live video coverage here, but I guess we'll move on to the next one here. Daniel Jones, who I actually have a lot of respect for because he had a lot of offseason work, lost his running back, Saquon Barkley, early in the year, lost Sterling Shepard. Darius Slayton's been kind of banged up as well. He has quite literally nothing to work with. He went 17 of 32 for 179 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. But I will say, out of all the quarterbacks who are losing games so far this year, think about guys like Kirk Cousins. Think about guys like even Daniel Jones right now. Think about guys, Carson Wentz. Daniel Jones has shown me – exactly. Daniel Jones has shown me so far this season he's the best losing quarterback in the NFL right now. He is. He's the best losing quarterback in the NFL right now, outside of Joe Burrow. And I will say that because if you actually sit down and watch this football game from start to finish, he makes veteran throws. He runs when he needs to run, and he's smart with the football. And that's all you need to do to be successful as an NFL quarterback. But without a run game, without help, without an offensive line that's capable of protecting you, you can't do your job. So I feel terrible for Daniel Jones. And I do understand, I know what you're going to say here, I'm making excuses for him. And I am. And I'm saying that from a biased point of view, and I'll admit that right now, because I want to see Daniel Jones succeed, because I believe in the type of player he can be when given the right amount of weapons.
Daniel Jones is giving me a strong feeling of Drew Brees before he ended up going to the Saints. That's what it's looking like to me, because when Drew Brees was with the Chargers, they weren't doing much of anything right there. But when he moved on, he had a new life, you know, new people around him, a new city to take hold of. I think Daniel Jones he might need another team to embrace him where he can be able to prosper.
That's an interesting thought right there, because he's only a sophomore. He's only his second year in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And he has 2 years, probably actually no, 3 years, because he's a first-round pick, 3 years under contract now.
Yes.
But on the horizon, maybe you're right. Maybe you are into something here. Maybe he does need to change his scenery to be the elite quarterback that I believe he can be in the right system. So that's an interesting thought.
It is, and of course, with the teams, they're gonna have to make some moves, especially with Saquon being hurt, and he's honestly, in my eyes, is the face of the team, which is, sometimes that a little bit, that's a little crazy saying that a running back is more valuable to a team than the quarterback, but that's what it looks like right now. But it's no fault against Daniel Jones. It's just the dynamic of what's been going on and how the organization runs.
I don't even think it's a hot take anyway. I mean, look at guys like Adrian Peterson, who carried organization on his back for years. Like, it's not a crazy thought. Even Barry Sanders, even Walter Payton. We're going back a little bit in the history books here, but it's not an uncommon thought to understand running backs as the face of a franchise. So I'm with you there 100%. Going back to the stats here, though, Daniel Jones actually led the way running as well. A terrible way for Devontae Freeman in his debut. Freeman had 5 carries for 10 yards. And no scores. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, had 5 carries for 49 yards, no scores, but 9.8 yards a carry. Like we said before, I don't want to get repetitive here, but Daniel Jones cannot do this all by himself. The Giants need to get him some help. Hopefully Devontae Freeman, takes this week to dive deeper into the playbook, to give him some more freedom to play calling and give Daniel Jones just some relief. He needs relief. He needs some Tylenol. He needs something to help. Some Pepto-Bismol. Get Ocho to send him some.
I'm not worried about Devontae Freeman. He's a proven player. As long as he stays healthy, another weekend with the playbook, I'm sure he'll do fine next week.
And I wonder here, because Joe Judge is a former New England guy, and he's worked with Dion Lewis before. Dion Lewis signed with the Giants in the offseason here. He only had 3 targets for a catch and 10 yards.
Yeah.
Now, I have a big problem with that, because if Saquon Barkley's out, he's your main offense. Most teams go to screens. They go to play action. They go to these short slants and stuff. This is where Dion Lewis thrives. Why isn't Joe Judge making sure that Dion Lewis is incorporated in this offense? It doesn't make any sense to me, because you have Darius Slayton, who's kind of beat up. He's playing through injury. You have Sterling Shepard, your guy, your proclaimed guy, who's been out with injuries on the IR right now. Golden Tate has been doing really nothing so far this season, and Evan Engram's been a mystery block here. So why is Dion Lewis being involved?
Maybe Jerry Jones was telling us a lot, telling us something about Jason Garrett over there.
Maybe he was. Jason Garrett, you're on the hot block again, buddy. You're on the hot seat again. And I think he gets a break here because of Saquon's injury here. But if it happens again next year, he's out of the NFL. He should have been out of the NFL a long time ago too. But that's just my opinion here. Going to the next game here, the Raiders and the Patriots. Oh boy. Chris, did you pick the Raiders last week?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Ugh. I tried to tell you. He dropped his phone. Your phone can't believe it either. I tried to tell you. Cam Newton is unfreaking believable. Cam Newton is going to win Comeback Player of the Year. Cam Newton is competing with this team that has Buffalo in the same goddamn division and might actually pull the division out. Nobody saw this coming except Patriots fans in general, because anytime Bill Belichick makes a move of this kind of caliber, it works out.
Well, you still got to get past the Bills, so I don't know.
I agree with you. I'm getting ahead of myself as a Patriots fan. But But even going back out of my bias here, just look at the stats. Cam Newton, right? 17 or 28. Still not showing me he's an elite passer yet, but he showed me in Seattle on Sunday Night Football. So I have less of a problem with that now. 17 or 28, 162 yards, a touchdown and a pick. The pick was kind of iffy. Did not like seeing that. It was we're gonna kind of shake that off here. On the ground, added 27 yards on 9 carries. But the story of the day, I think, was Sony Michel. 9 carries, 117 yards, and no scores. And I shit on Sony Michel a lot because
he should have had a score. He just needs,
and you're right.
Get a little bit, get them afterburners going, because he had one where he busted for like 45 yards, and I really felt like he should have scored that.
Oh, no, I agree with you there. But here's the reason why Sony Michel did so well. If you missed the game, you're just hearing the kind of the recap here from us. Rex Burkhead, that's his name. 6 carries, 49 yards, 2 scores. Also added a score on a screen receiving.
Yep.
Sony Michel feels legitimately threatened. And you know what? He should. because Rex Burkhead outperformed him up until he decided to have a couple of big kind of home run yards here. J.J. Taylor had 11 carries and 43 yards, the rookie, the undrafted rookie out of Arizona. You have guys like even Isaiah Zuber, the receiver, who had more impressive plays than Sony Michel prior to this game. Sony Michel knows that he's the odd guy out in the stable at this moment and showed that he can still play elite kind of football in this game. But let's keep in mind here, Week 3 IR is kind of starting to kind of swirl here. Damian Harris, the former Alabama running back, is coming off IR with a finger injury. If you don't know who Damian Harris is, he split carries with Josh Jacobs at Alabama. He stopped Josh Jacobs from being a full-time running back in college. What is Josh Jacobs in the NFL? An elite running back. What is Damian Harris going to be? We don't know yet, but I guarantee you he's going to give Sony Michel a run for his money. This, to me, shows me that Sony Michel is scared and that he's now playing his ass off in order to make sure he's solidified on this roster moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know about playing scared, but he's definitely has his eyes out on him. Anytime you're out there on the field and you see somebody that's that they just bring in and he's at your position, you have a certain feeling. It's not that you want to wish bad on them or wish ill on them or anything like that, but it definitely is something that you keep your eye on. And, hopefully he can just brush that right on off and continue on next week and have another really good game and actually get in the end zone.
100%. I'm with you there. Going to receiving here. Guess who led in receptions? Rex freaking Burkhead. 7 receptions for 49 yards and a touchdown as well. He just had an overall great game. And this is the danger of running back by committee because you can't game plan around it defensively. You can't do it because you don't know what running back they'll attack you with. Rex Burkhead can run and he can catch. James White can catch. Sony Michel can run. Damian Harris, we don't know what he can do yet, but he can do both, I'm going to argue. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to game planning for the New England Patriots, if you spend too much time game planning on any running back, you're going to lose.
Yeah, but this is showing me this offense is showing me that they're looking good right now. But once you go past, once you play a team or two, and then you have to turn around and you have to play them again, it's not going to look good because you're going to know that you're going to be running the same thing over and over again. And Bill Belichick, he's a great coach. He's a master at calling up plays and dialing up the right plays at the right time. But if you know where if you know where you're going to go, where they're going to go, then it's going to get even harder. Cam Newton did look a little bit scared out there running a little bit. It looked a little bit weary. I've never seen Cam slide as much as he has this year compared to the previous years. Now, I don't know if that's just because he's just trying to save his body and he's just being smarter, which hopefully that is the case, or is, it might be a little nerves because he was gone for so long and he's battling so much that's going on in his head, especially talking about what was the 56 nights or whatever it was that he was sitting
84.
off. He's worried about that. But yeah, they're going to have to figure something else out. They're going to have to, off the waiver wires and pick up some more receivers out there and actually throw the ball down the field. And
going back to the sliding point before we move on here, I wouldn't say Cam Newton sliding is a bad thing. I think your second point was more correct. I think the fact he's preserving his body this early in the season is a very good thing because it's not worth getting injured in week 3 against the goddamn Las Vegas Raiders. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
For the extra 5 yards you get if you battled, you don't need to take that risk. Slide down. I love what he did with the football. And actually, I think he actually learned a lot from your boy, Russell Wilson. When to slide, when it's appropriate to run, when it's appropriate to pass. His pocket presence, I think, has been a lot better than he was in Carolina. I think he's making smart decisions because he's – I wouldn't say scared. He's more aware of his body limitations now because he is a little bit old, a little bit more injury-prone. I think it's a good thing. I think he's recognizing his limitation. I think he's recognized his ability to affect the game even though he's not going 110% every play. That comes with a veteran's awareness. And I'm going to say that's a good thing for Cam Newton.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you on that. But overall, like I said, I'm still sticking with what I said in the beginning that, Patriots, they make it to the wild card, but that'll be about it for them.
I guess we're going to find out. Going to the other side of the football here, Derek Carr, 24 of 32, 261 yards and 2 scores. Derek Carr looked good. It was not good enough against the Patriots defense, but he looked pretty good. Josh Jacobs on the ground, 16 carries, 71 yards, no scores, but a 4.4 yards a carry. Early in the football game, he looked very, very good. I think he kind of gave this defense a run for its money, especially up the middle where we're lacking, especially when it comes to the linebacking core. But I think we contain him at the end of the day. But speaking of containment, Darren Waller, 4 total targets, 2 receptions, 9 yards. Granted,
that's the only person I've been thinking about this time.
And I want to say this before you kind of get to your take here. Darren Waller caught both of those passes in garbage time when the game was pretty much over.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick made him Casper the freaking Ghost on Sunday. And that's an impressive thing to do because having a guy like Darren Waller who runs like a receiver but has a body like a tight end, that's not easy to guard. But I will say, I think he took what he saw from his boy, Rob Gronkowski, early in his career and applied it to Darren Waller. He knows how to stop Gronk because he worked with Gronk for so many years. And he applied the same logic to Darren Waller. He hit him every time he came out of the backfield. Anytime he came off the line of scrimmage, he hit him. Someone was hitting him in the mouth, in the shin, anywhere. And as soon as he was hit, he had a man-to-man coverage. That's the main thing you need to do, cover these big physical tight ends that are fast. If you hit him off the line, Derek Carr's looking somewhere else automatically. Because if the first option is not there, Derek Carr's shown us, historically, he's going to panic and throw to his second or third or fourth option. He's not going to wait for the first option to develop. And Bill Belichick, this just speaks to the genius of Bill Belichick. He understands his opponents so well. He takes away your best option and makes your second and third receivers, second and third options in general, beat you. And the Raiders' second and third options were not good enough to win this game on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right about that. Bill Belichick has been notorious for shutting down your best player and then making you win with somebody else, which is second or third player. But let's just say that it'd be a different story if Ruggs was healthy.
I agree with you.
I definitely feel that very strongly about that because Ruggs is a bright spot in that black hole that they have over there in Las Vegas. But yeah, overall, I feel like Derek Carr, he had an okay game. They shut down Darren Waller. Jacobs, he did good. It looked good, but it just wasn't enough at that time. But I'm pretty sure once they get Ruggs back and they're able to exploit the whole offense out there, they will be looking a lot better.
I agree with you 100%, and it's tough because we record on Tuesdays typically, so it's hard for us to gouge the injury situation coming up to the game because Tuesday doesn't give you any insight. They usually take Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday off if they're kind of feeling injured, a little bit banged up because they want them to play on Sunday. And it's tough for us to evaluate from that perspective because we're just so far back in time, we don't know what's going to happen. If Henry Ruggs was on the field on Sunday, it might have been a close game. I think the Patriots still win the game. Because they have guys like Jonathan Jones who can – no, hey, hear me out. Jonathan Jones ran a 4.3 at the combine. He has the speed to keep up with Henry Ruggs. With safety coverage over the top, it would have been harder to deal with the offense. And I think Darren Waller would have had a field day if Henry Ruggs was in the game.
Yeah, but just because you got speed doesn't mean that you got stopping power.
Right.
Ruggs is a speedster too, but he knows where he's going. He knows where he needs to cut, and he needs to stick that plant foot. So
I agree with you.
That's still something different right there.
True, but reality is reality. We stick to reality. Henry Ruggs was not healthy enough to play in this football game, and that's the reason why the Patriots steamrolled the Raiders. But I will say one more thing about the Raiders here. My guy, Clemson former wideout Hunter Renfrow, 6 receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown. He looks phenomenal, and he's just very easy to root for. He's like the easiest receiver to root for in the NFL. He's humble. He's gritty. He's like Edelman before the fame. I love watching this guy play. I wish he was a Patriot. But yeah, I like Hunter Renfrow a lot. I'm Team Renfrow.
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. But I take it another step back. He reminds me more of Wes Welker. That's what he reminds me of. More of a system player, but once you get him in there, he's going to make things happen.
Hopefully with the clutch gene. Hopefully. No butterfingers allowed.
Well, he hasn't proved it wrong, and he hasn't proved us wrong.
I know, but then again, Wes Welker didn't prove us wrong until the 19th game of the year. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. That
was a good one, right, Chris? That was a good one. I got you. Anyway, going to this next game here. A nail-biter in Minnesota. But our Titans pulled out 31-30, and Kirk Cousins loses his 3rd game in a row, although it was not all his fault. Let's get to the stats here. Ryan Tannehill, 23 of 37, 321 yards, no scores and an interception. However, the freight train himself had a game. Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 119 yards, and 2 scores. When Derrick Henry gets going, you can't stop him. I don't care what scheme you implant. I don't care what player you put on specifically. I don't care if you rush 11 guys in the field at him at one time. You can't tackle this guy because he's too big. He's too big. Running backs should not be this big. It's like Earl Campbell reincarnate. It's ridiculous. He should not be this big playing running back. Brandon Jacobs. Okay, well, Earl Thomas is before. I mean, not Earl Thomas. Earl Campbell's before Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah.
With the mold, same thing.
Well, you can give them both, but I see more of Brandon Jacobs in his game. Where if you get him going, especially with the outside zones, he's going to run over at least 3 or 4 people and get you 5 to 10 yards a pop. So
you just gave me some Vietnam flashbacks from 2007. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. That hurt me a little bit, Chris.
I hear you. But overall, I feel like Tennessee they're doing good. They're playing to their strengths, and it's working for them. Now,
definitely.
As time goes on, like I say about everybody else, you can't just depend on one facet of the game. You have to be multifaceted around here especially when you're looking at other teams out here that are running and passing, like the Steelers.
100%, I agree with you there. The Titans, though, when it comes to receiving, had a full committee on schedule here. They had 4 receivers with 40-plus receiving yards. Going down the list here, Khalif Raymond out of nowhere, 3 receptions for 118 yards and no scores. Corey Davis, our breakout candidate of the year, 5 receptions for 69 yards and no scores. Jonnu Smith, the tight end who's really having a season for himself thus far. 5 receptions for 61 yards and no scores. And Adam Humphries, 4 receptions for 41 yards and no scores. They spread the ball around on a decimated Minnesota Vikings secondary, and it did the job just well enough to get the victory.
Yeah, especially with the quarterback that you don't actually like.
Kirk Cousins?
No, I'm talking about Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, yeah, I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I stand by that. I stand by that. No, I do. I stand by that 100%. Is he an average quarterback that can manage a game well? Yeah. I'll grant you that 100%. 100% out of 100. He does his job very, very well. Is he a franchise quarterback? No, he's not. He's not.
All right,
he's not.
Man. Go ahead.
Going on to the other side of the ball here, Kirk Cousins, 16 of 27 for 251 yards, 3 scores, but 2 turnovers. Actually ended up costing him pretty much the ball game. Rushing, Dalvin Cook, 22 carries for a whopping 181 yards and a touchdown, 8.2 yards a carry. This dude, every time he ran the football, was a first down, essentially. That's ridiculous. That's insanity. Who the hell runs the football like that? That is so impressive to me. And obviously, you know the kind of player he was going into the season. But I'm worried about this because if you run Dalvin Cook 20-plus times a game, speaking historically wise, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah, but I feel like this offseason he did a little bit more, especially with the clips that we've seen that was surfacing of him actually like working out and running and making sure that his body was in peak physique. And it's a reason why they let Adrian Peterson go. It's a reason why, and he shows it. He shows it every time when he's out there and he's able to stay healthy. He shows why he's one of the best running backs in the game.
I'd agree with you there. Going to receiving, and just another clown face on the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. The guy they passed on to take Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, 7 receptions, 175 yards, and a score on 9 targets. Wow. The former LSU product stunned the Tennessee Titans this week. While they didn't get the W, he looked Randy Moss-esque in this game. And he played elite level football, and I cannot wait to see him continue this success. I have a feeling he could be a Pro Bowler by the end of the season.
Yeah, well, it's just one game. We'll see. The fact that the Vikings don't have their defense isn't all the way there. they're going to be in a lot more of these shootout games, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot more. So he's going to get a lot of targets. He's going to get a lot of targets. Hopefully, he's going to continue catching majority of his targets and keeps on making people miss, because that cut that he made on the down the sideline was nasty.
Whew. Nasty.
The dance, I'm not really with the dance, but the cut was nasty.
That's why I said Randy Moss. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not gonna give him that praise. I think very highly of Randy Moss. But Justin Jefferson, he's definitely a good player. He's definitely showing the intangibles to being a number one receiver in the NFL.
100%. Going to the next game here, Cleveland and Washington. I'm so glad Cleveland proved us right, because if they didn't, I don't even know what I'd be on.
It was close.
For a while, it was close, especially early in the ball game here.
Man.
But if they had lost this game, I would be campaigning for them to get rid of Baker Mayfield, because he's shown me little to nothing, even though they're actually 2-1 or 2-1. He's shown me very little that comforts me that he's an actual franchise quarterback like he was supposed to be coming out of Oklahoma. But going to the stats here, the Browns, Baker Mayfield, 16 of 23, 156 yards and 2 scores. A good stat line, no turnovers. But how do you not throw for more yards with Odell, Jarvis, Austin Hooper, Kareem Hunt at your disposal? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Average.
You have an elite array of weapons around you, but you can't do anything with it. That pisses me off. Like, you were drafted number 1 overall for a reason. You won the Heisman, and then you come into Cleveland being the savior. Plays a great rookie year, stinks it up last year, but now it has no excuses, because Odell's had an entire year in the system now, an entire offseason in the system. Jarvis is healthy. They add one of the best tight ends in football when it comes to catching the ball. They have Kareem Hunt back on a 2-year cheap deal. They have the best running back stable in the whole damn league, and he still can't produce at an elite level. What more can you have, Baker Mayfield?
I have no clue, but he needs to stay off those commercials, cleaning seats before he has to do that for a real job, because right now it's not working for me. I like Baker Mayfield when he was coming out. I love the swagger that he has. I love the aura that just oozes out of him. I love that. Especially as a wide receiver, I love to see my quarterback with a little swag on him. You know what I'm saying? But it's just not working right now, and it's frustrating, because you have Odell Beckham, you have Jarvis Landry, you got Austin Hooper. Like, how do you not have a 300-yard game with these three amazing talents that you have sitting outside of you, and especially with Chubbs and Kareem Hunt in the backfield helping you out? When you have a great running game, your passing game is automatically going to open up, because they have to add more people into the box. So that makes it one-on-one that makes it one-on-one for the outside receivers, for them to go out there and, like Shaq says, barbecue chicken a couple DBs out there, and it's not working. He's not getting the ball down the field like he needs to be, and connecting with these star players. And something needs to change. Something needs to happen for them to be able to make a push into the playoffs. But let me tell you this, though. I like Kareem Hunt. Mm-hmm. He is really special. He got in trouble, which is inexcusable. But I feel like at one point in time, somebody's going to come and pick him up and pay him big money, because he made one of those nasty one-handed catches out there.
I saw it.
Leaning back, I was like, yo, this guy is nice.
I mean,
you still got Chubbs out there who's running over people, who's almost looking like your boy Henry, just running people over and juking people out the way. I'm like, these guys is amazing. This is the best 1-2 punch in the NFL right now.
And we said it last week too. We've been on this for a while now. We said it a couple weeks ago now. Like, they're the best stable in the NFL. I think it's bar none. I think it's just overall the best running back stable in the NFL. Also, shout out to roommate Jimmy over there throwing up the Ride the Wave sign in the background there. Anyway, going back to this, I want to kind of dive in deeper into Baker Mayfield's incompetence a little bit because it makes me happy a little bit.
Okay.
I call this the Matt Ryan effect, right? So Baker Mayfield, right? Baker Mayfield has himself, obviously, and he has 2 elite running backs. Agreed, right?
Yeah.
He has 2 elite receivers. He has an elite tight end, and he has a lot of great surrounding pieces. Yep, all true.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, right, had 2 elite running backs. He had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman. He had elite receivers in Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu. Elite's probably strong for Mohamed Sanu, but we'll go with it, right?
It's a bit strong.
Well, in that offense, like he did his job phenomenal. He also had Taylor Gabriel as well, so we can kind of group them in together and say they're
his
both.
best years was with Cincy, but go ahead.
All right, let me keep going here. And they also had Austin Hooper before he became Austin Hooper, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Matt Ryan can win an MVP with less, then why can't Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall pick, Heisman winner, do more than average with a better array of weapons? Let me know. It boggles my mind, Chris. It boggles my mind.
And it goes back to, and I can only go back to what you were saying earlier. Does the city dictate the mantra of the team? And let's be honest here. Brea, Ohio is not the ideal place to be. So I don't understand how you don't have enough time to study, to watch film, to figure these defenses out, to sit in the house and really, think about how you're going to shred up the next team and not get it done. There's nothing else to do out there. You should be able to have the best game of your life in your head first, because that's where it all starts off with, and then apply it onto the field.
I mean, the club closes at 8 o'clock, for God's sake, in Cleveland. They can't be out there all night anyway. But I will say, though, I think you're absolutely right. I think the mantra of the city is dictating this right now. They have a loser mentality. They've had a loser mentality for the past 20-plus years. And it's starting to show signs of it because even with an elite team, I would say this is an elite-level team on offense at least, and they have some great pieces on defense as well. There is no good reason why this team should not be successful.
Yeah,
but it just keeps happening. It just keeps.
You would think the Cavaliers winning championships out there would have helped them out, and they would have got some of that
energy back.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not working right. And it's just not working right with them. Maybe it's COVID. Maybe it's because they don't have the fans out there to help them out with the dog bags.
It could be that as well. But to quote the great Joakim Noah, who the hell wants to vacation in Cleveland? I don't want to go to Cleveland. And I think that's the whole mantra you're talking about here. But going to the other side of the football here, Dwayne Haskins, or my friend actually called him Dwayne Askins the other day because of how bad this dude is. 21 of 37, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Just a abysmal day for Dwayne Haskins and company here. The one bright spot on this offense I've noticed actually the past couple of weeks, Antonio Gibson, 9 carries, 49 yards, and a touchdown. But overall, he's been a very, very effective running back in this system.
Yes, he has. He's just going about his business. That's what a professional does, and he's taking on that challenge of being a professional, and he's making things happen over there.
100%. And going to receiving here, Terry McLaurin, 4 receptions for 83 yards. He was going to show up, and we knew that automatically. He's a consistent player. But the surprise of the day, former Colt, Dontrell Inman, 3 receptions, 38 yards, and a couple scores. The Washington football team, while they're 1-2, don't impress me in the slightest. This team will be a top 5 draft order coming up in the next cycle here. They're not. What's the word to describe this, Chris? They're just not a functional franchise, and it's showing. Because when you have a guy like Ron Rivera, who's been in the Super Bowl, who's had playoff success, who's won Coach of the Year, leading your team, you should not be turning the ball over 4 times. You should not be letting up 34 points with an average stat line from the quarterback. You should not be doing a lot of the mistakes they're making. And I think it comes from the top down. I think they should sell the team. I think they should even relocate. Because the way I look at it right now, this team has quite literally nothing going for it. Even their star rusher, Chase Young, is on the IR now. He's out for the game, and he's going to be out for another 3 weeks. What do they have going for them? Nothing. I think it's time to cut bait and just move on. But that's just me.
Yeah, I definitely believe in what you're saying right there. I feel like that it is you're doing Ron Rivera a disservice and not allowing him to coach the team the way he needs to be able to coach it. And I know any coach that allows this quarterback to turn the ball over 3 to 4 times has to be extremely mad. But we know that higher ups, when the money talks, you can't really do nothing about that. You have to let things play out. And so, he's a little bit behind the 8 ball. And, he's the face of the team right now because he's the head coach, and it's only making him look bad. But Ron Rivera is definitely one of the great coaches that's in the NFL.
And they don't even have an identity. They quite literally don't have an identity. They don't even have a team name. They don't even have a team name. They have no unifying.
Isn't that coming up? They're supposed to be coming up with a name sometime soon. I think I seen something like that on
It's
Twitter.
about damn time. You had all the time in the world to do it. That franchise just grinds my gears. I actually have cousins from Maryland who are big Washington football fans, and they're disgusted as well. And it's like, I don't blame you. I'm sorry you have to deal with this franchise as your home franchise, but it is what it is. Going to the next game here.
Sorry, you picked the wrong team.
Exactly. So, I mean, they just grew up there, so I guess that's the luck of the draw right there. But going to the next game here, Buffalo and LA, a great football game. Just a great, great football game. 35-32 final score. Buffalo takes the W and stays undefeated. Josh Allen, who's sneakily in the MVP race, by the way. Sneakily. 24 of 33. 311 yards, 4 touchdowns, including the touchdown that would win the ball game in an interception. On the ground, Devin Singletary adds 13 carries for 71 yards and no scores, but a nice 5.5 yards a carry. And receiving, my guy, who I've told a lot of people to watch out for this week, was Cole Beasley. 6 receptions for 100 yards on the day. We talked about this last week, Chris. I was worried about the depth of the secondary for LA. I knew Jalen Ramsey would have a role to play when guarding Stephon Diggs. And for the most part, he did guard him well. Granted, he had a touchdown catch on him. But for the most part, he was as restricted as possible. But as I said last week, my main concern was the depth concerning the Rams secondary. And this game proved to me they do not have the depth of a Super Bowl caliber team. Because in the playoffs, you have these unknown names, like a guy like Chris Matthews, who come out of nowhere and affect the game at a huge, huge level. If they can't guard Gabriel Davis, Cole Beasley, and Tyler Kroft, who Kroft, by the way, had 4 receptions for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns, what are they going to do in the playoffs when they play someone better, when someone has better depth? What are they going to do? The Rams are not as good as people say they are. And because of Buffalo's win here, Buffalo is officially a top 5 team in the NFL.
Are you saying the defense isn't as good as they say they are? Or are you talking about the team?
I'm saying overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you on that. Josh Allen, I think this week proved. I mean, he actually went from being a sneak into the MVP conversation into being the second runner-up in the MVP conversation, because Kyler Murray, we'll talk about him a little bit, definitely decreased his value in this past game. But Josh Allen, and I've been talking about this guy since last year. He is showing that as long as you allow him to be himself, he is going to produce, and he's doing everything that he can in his power to put his team in winning positions, and they're actually buying in. They're buying in with Josh Allen, and I like it. I love it. They're going out there. In the beginning, I remember in the beginning of the game that they scored 2 touchdowns. And they called them both back, and I'm like, well, he scores another one. He scores the third one, and it actually counts. And I'm like, well, that's pretty impressive right there, because a lot of quarterbacks, after a while, you're talking about you get a flag and you get 2 flags, and your team is a little bit down. They're mad. They're tired, and you see Josh Allen out there, and he's still out there running the ball and clapping guys up and giving high fives and stuff like that, man. Josh Allen is a really good player, man, and overall the Bills is a really good team, and I think that they're going to be my sleeper. I think that they're going to be the sleeper in this season.
Are they a top 5 team?
Top five. Let's see. I mean, not top five, not just yet,
but borderline.
But, as time goes on, if they keep going and they keep winning, then I'll give it to them for sure.
Fair enough. Going to the other side of the football here, Jared Goff, 23 of 32, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Not the best day, not the worst day for the former Cal prospect there, but the great guy on the offense. Solid game. I would say solid game. Running the football, however, Darnell Henderson, 20 carries, 114 yards and a touchdown, a 5.7 yards a carry here. He looked elite. I wouldn't say elite. I would
say Henry numbers.
It is Derrick Henry numbers. And I don't mean elite as in running back hierarchy. I mean elite as just an athlete. He just looked phenomenal. He looked comfortable. And I think he's the reason why LA was even in the game in the first place. Because I don't think Jared Goff brought them there himself. Going to receiving here, Cooper Kupp, 9 receptions for 107 yards and a touchdown on 10 targets. This dude is like glue. He catches everything around him. He's sweeping the football after the catch. He makes people miss in the open field. He's just a great all-around receiver, isn't he?
No, I like Cooper Kupp a lot. Him and Robert Woods work well together. I keep on saying this. I'm not a real big fan of wide receivers taking reverses so much when receivers are built for catching the ball down the field or and making things happen. But they're making things work for him over there, and Cooper Kupp is definitely doing his part.
Definitely,
especially coming off an injury.
100%. I agree with you there. I love Cooper Kupp. Going to the next game here, Atlanta and Chicago, and this just blows my mind. I'm gonna open this game with a stat. No team in the last 25 years has blown multiple 15-point leads in the fourth quarter. 25 years. That's a long freaking time.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons did it in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
I'm officially declaring it's time to break up the boys club. I think Dan Quinn should be gone. I think Matt Ryan's last season with Atlanta is here if he doesn't retire. Yeah. I think Julio Jones might be on the way out of the door. I think New England actually might scoop up Julio Jones. We can talk about that after the analysis here. But this is embarrassing. You're a professional football team, and you blew back-to-back 15-point leads with Matt Ryan at the helm, with Julio Jones, with Calvin Ridley, with Todd Gurley. When does it end? When does it stop? What's the line they need to cross to the point where they say, all right, it's done. We need to blow it up?
Yeah, I think it's coming. And it's unfortunate because, Dan Quinn, that's my guy, especially back in the Seattle days. He's a great coach. I like him, but I just don't understand it, how you went from a defensive coordinator to a head coach, and then you're allowing your defense to give up points and lose games, honestly, back-to-back weeks. It doesn't make sense to me. It's unfortunate, but it's a part of the game. Then he's going to have to go. I feel you with Matt Ryan. I feel like Matt Ryan just is his last leg. He'll probably end up being, a backup somewhere else. And Julio Jones, that's really tough for me because he's just coming off of, being a number one receiver in the top 100. So, that's hard, but I can see it happening because Calvin Ridley is actually putting on a show out there. He's probably the bright spot on that offense, and I feel like I'm not totally off of Todd Gurley. I feel like Todd Gurley just needs some more time in the offense to be able to gel a little bit more to understand what's going on out there. But yeah, I'm not off on Todd Gurley yet.
And I hope you're right because I'm a big Todd Gurley guy. I'm a big fan of the guy. I was really hoping for a huge comeback season from him. But so far, it hasn't happened. I think it's a lot to do with the offensive line as well. They haven't played anywhere near as well as they should be. Yeah. But I'm going to give some more time on Todd Gurley as well. Going to the stats here. And this made me happy. I will say this part of the game did make me happy. Mitch Trubisky went 13 for 22, 128 yards, a score, and an interception, and was benched. And my guy, and he shouldn't be my guy because he broke my goddamn heart in Super Bowl 52. But my guy, Nick Foles, comes in 16 of 29, 188 yards, 3 scores, and an interception. What did you see from the former Super Bowl MVP?
That he is good when he's put in pressure moments. He is really good when he's put in pressure moments. Nick Foles is somebody who I've always been a fan of, honestly, ever since he came in and won that Super Bowl for the Eagles. So it looks good, but at the same time, you know, we've seen that Nick Foles has had the opportunity to be able to start and take the team over, and he doesn't always make the right plays. So it's going to be a tough decision for him, but they're going to have to make one and ride with it.
Well, just so you know, Nick Foles was declared the starter going forward for this team, for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, really?
He was.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that yet.
He was. So going forward, I think it's probably the better move for them. They're 3-0, but I will still maintain they're the biggest fraud at 3-0 in the entire NFL. This team, they're the biggest fraud at 3-0. They are. Because, all right, so
how can you be a fraud at 3-0?
What are you talking about? The Lions game, first off, that debacle of the end zone drop by DeAndre Swift, right? That's already an L in the column, right? If DeAndre Swift makes a routine catch in the end zone, all right? So let's call it 0-1, right? Going to the next game, blasphemous as well. Going to this game, 30-26. The Atlanta Falcons gave them this game on a silver platter. It's not. Granted, they won the football game.
So I like how you just bypassed last week's game, like it was just a wash when they rightfully so went out there and did what they were supposed to do. Like I keep on telling you, Joe, this is the NFL. Anything can happen on Sunday, and they're proving it. It's not their fault that the running back for Detroit dropped the ball in the end zone. That's not their fault. You know, this is not their fault that they come in and they bitch their franchise quarterback and put in their backup quarterback and comes out striking. That's not a coincidence. That's not something that you can just make up.
I'm not
Things happen and it works.
I'm not faulting them for winning football games. I'm faulting the fact that they're 3-0 when I don't think they're a 3-0 caliber football team. That's what I'm trying to say here. While they earned the W's they have, right? They earned them. They still had to play the football game. They still had to put the points up. They still had to win the football game. And I give them credit for that. I just think they're frauds at 3-0 because I don't believe in this team. Even within the division, Packers are a better football team, right? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Vikings have the potential to win football against the Chicago Bears, right? The Chicago Bears defense isn't showing me anywhere near as much as they did a couple years ago.
I don't believe in the Vikings.
I don't believe them either, but I think Dalvin Cook would run for 200 yards. They could win by a field goal. I believe that very much. Like you just said, any given Sunday. Even the Lions, who Matt Stafford knocks off Arizona and Kyler Murray in the desert. Who's to say Matt Stafford can't mount a victory against the Chicago Bears? I think they split the series if we want to get down to it. So I just think they're a fraud team. I didn't really articulate it as well as I could have. I need to dive deeper into the analytics here. But I just don't see Chicago going anywhere this season. I think they're a fraud of 3-0. I'm going to leave it at that. Going back into the rushing here, David Montgomery, 14 carries for 45 yards and no scores, 3.2 yards a carry. The rushing offense for the Chicago Bears was tough, especially considering Tariq Cohen tore his ACLs out for the rest of the year. A big loss for the Windy City and Tariq Cohen. Receiving-wise, though, Allen Robinson, who's playing some of his best football of his career, 10 receptions for 123 yards and a score. Jimmy Graham reviving his career in Chicago as well, 6 receptions for 60 yards and 2 scores. That's the Nick Foles effect. He did it with Zach Ertz in Philadelphia, and he's going to keep doing it with every team he goes to. He loves the big targets. He loves the ability for him to shield the football. And it shows in the red zone, especially because Jimmy Graham's a former power forward. He played basketball in college as well. Same thing with Antonio Gates. Same thing with Tony Gonzalez. These former basketball players know how to go up and get the football, use their body to shield the football, and come down with it in the end zone. And I think Nick Foles on his new favorite target in Jimmy Graham. And I would love to see what they're going to do down the stretch here with that connection specifically. Going to Atlanta's side of the ball here, Matt Ryan, 19 of 38 for 238 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Just an average stat line for Matt Ryan. It's his last year in Atlanta. Sad to say. Great tenure, but this is the end of the road for him. Rushing, Todd Gurley, 14 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown, 5.7 yards a carry. Not a bad game, but not nearly enough to seal a W for this Atlanta Falcons.
Not a game of Gurley's caliber. I hear you.
100%. Receiving, though, a guy who continues to shine in this offense, Calvin Ridley. 5 receptions, 110 yards, no scores, but 13 targets. Calvin Ridley's officially the number one receiver in this offense. I said it last week because Julio Jones is either getting double teamed or he's injured, or it's either this or that. But
and you can see it, and you can see it coming out. You can see it coming out of Calvin Ridley. I see it on the sideline. He's over here going off on players, and you're talking about you have Julio Jones sitting right there on the sideline. You basically his big brother, and you can just see the passing of the torch, and he's just sitting there. He can't really say much because he's not out there playing. Yeah. But Calvin Ridley is showing that aura of I'm the number one guy. So I like Calvin Ridley a lot, man. He's doing great jobs, but they need to break up that team and make him the focal point.
And I was going to say on top of that point, I want to agree with you there. They need to blow it up for one of the biggest reasons, I think, to center the offense around Calvin Ridley even more. Because he's showing he's a receiver one type of talent here. And it reminds me similarly how DeAndre Hopkins came up behind Andre Johnson. Because there was a couple seasons there where DeAndre Hopkins was actually in tandem with Andre Johnson toward the end of his career in Houston. And while he didn't have elite numbers.
We'll say 1 year.
1 year. Well, okay, we'll go with 1 year. But he was towards the end of the boat here.
He was still a beast, though.
He was. I agree with you. He was towards the end of his career. Same thing with Julio Jones is right now, even though I think he's probably ahead of where Andre Johnson is right now at his current age.
Roddy White,
yeah. So what I'm trying to compare it to is Calvin Ridley played a couple seasons with Julio Jones now, shown receiver one potential, but just like when when Andre Johnson left the Texans, Julio Jones is going to do the same damn thing. And Calvin Ridley would become the DeAndre Hopkins of the Atlanta Falcons. I think the storyline's the same. I think the arc's the same. And I'm really excited to see Calvin Ridley as the bona fide first option in this offense, presumably with a new quarterback. Keep an eye on that storyline down the road in a couple years even as well. Going on to the next game here, Carolina and the Chargers. And I'm not going to lie to you, Chris. I'm surprised I got this one right. I really am, because when I picked it after the game, after this podcast, I was like, oh, I'm not really sure about that. Herbert's going to start now. He's going to have his first W. I don't really know about this. But the Panthers did just enough to get the W. Teddy Bridgewater, 22 of 28, 235 yards and a touchdown. Not elite, but efficient. And that's all he needed to do to get the W this week. He was efficient.
No, that's definitely true, man. And I definitely thought that the Chargers defense would have did a lot better than than what they showed out there on the field. And I was actually thinking like they would come out with at least 2 or 3 picks because Teddy Bridgewater, once you get some pressure in front of him, he likes to throw off his back foot and throw some ducks in the air. But he got it done. Teddy Bridgewater is a solid player. We've all seen that from him, especially with his time with the Saints last year. He made a solid day. He had a solid day today, this week.
Definitely. And the funny thing is, he didn't have a lot of help on the ground either. Their leading rusher had 46 yards on 13 carries, Mike Davis. And after that, really no help at all. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's out with an injury right now, an ankle injury.
He's hurt.
And honestly, this team shows me a lot of heart to get a W the week after your star player that carries your offense just up and goes away. So I give all the credit in the world to the Carolina Panthers for this victory as well. In the air, however, DJ Moore, 2 receptions for 65 yards, no scores, only on 4 targets, though. Robbie Anderson, 5 receptions for 55 yards. But Mike Davis, the running back, actually had probably the most impressive day of the bunch here. 8 receptions for 45 yards in a score. The Panthers, while I don't expect them to do really anything in that crowded NFC South, they're still having a pretty good start to the season considering all the circumstances they've had to deal with and all the obstacles they had to overcome early in the year.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that, especially with Christian McCaffrey being hurt. And they're scrambling around trying to figure out who's the next guy for them to be able to lean their hat on. It looks like a daunting task, a hard task. But they'll figure it out. I believe they'll be able to get a couple more wins out of here. But overall, Carolina, they look good this week. This past week.
Definitely. And I want to emphasize it is a this week thing. I don't really expect big things from them down the stretch. I don't see them making a playoff run at all. I don't really see that potential for this team. But it is nice to see these kind of flashes of potential when it comes to the next.
But it's possible.
It is possible.
Especially when Christian McCaffrey gets back.
Yeah, never rule anything out here. Going to the other side of the football, Justin Herbert, in his second game as a starter, 35 of 49, threw the ball 50 times, 330 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. What did you see from Justin Herbert in his second game as a starter?
That he's growing. He's definitely growing. He's taking command of the team, which is something that rookies know. They don't normally do just off the bat like that. Especially coming in at an ill time. At an off time that he did come in. But I think that that's a testament to Tyrod Taylor, because I've seen Tyrod Taylor take people under his arm and whether he was playing or not playing. Help them get further along than where they're at that present time. Tyrod Taylor is definitely an ultimate team player, and you can see that he's doing it with Justin Herbert.
And it's a very interesting situation going on with LA here. The NFLP is actually conducting an investigation into Tyrod Taylor's injury. Yeah. There's some rumors that might be intentional. There's a lot of crazy rumors going out there right now, and I wish I could dispel some of them for you, but I really can't. And it's shocking that in 2020 this would be a possibility, and it couldn't really happen to a worse guy than Tyrod Taylor. I mean, this is a guy who's fought for everything he's gotten. He's made the best of every single opportunity he's had. He went from Baltimore being a backup to being the starter in Buffalo, goes to Cleveland, loses the job to Baker Mayfield, and then comes in and wins the job in a new system again for the third time. And it's like, you hate to see it to this guy, my guy T-Mobile, but a very interesting and very ominous situation going on with the Chargers in this investigation. So hopefully they can shed some light on it, because this is a wacky situation.
I don't think it was intentional. I think it was more so of like just a mistake, because I've, not on that scale, but I've gotten IVs before, and they're not doing right with the needle. They're missing the veins and stuff like that. So that's definitely possible. But I've never had somebody puncture my lung trying to, administer medicine to me. So
just a very weird story in general. Very weird.
It's very weird, but he's definitely going to get paid off of this, which, at the end of the day, it's going to help out him and his family, much like how Orlando Brown back in the day when he got hit in the eye with the ref. Even though I had my little feelings about that, I feel like he was faking. But if you don't fake it, you fake it, you don't get the money, and especially if you win. So
that's true.
It's a complicated situation. Now we just have to see what happens. I don't really want to talk too much about it.
Yeah, we don't want to speculate too much on that situation. But the star of the day for this Chargers offense, Austin Eckler. I mean, wow. 23 total touches, 193 total yards, and a score. This dude is
better and better each week.
He's like a McCaffrey clone. It's really unbelievable. He affects the game in so many different levels and gives your offense a whole other dimension to work with. He is a quarterback, especially a young quarterback's best friend, and he's helping Justin Herbert into the NFL with great ease and great poise, because he always has that steady guy to pass you out of the backfield. But quickly emerging as Justin Herbert's favorite target in LA, Keenan Allen. 13 receptions, 132 yards and a touchdown, and almost a game-winning hook and ladder play that would have been crazy if that actually paid off. That would have been crazy. That would have been SportsCenter top 10, top 2, and not 2. Yes. That would have been unbelievable. But honestly, a pretty good game for Justin Herbert in his second game. Really could have won the game against the Chiefs, which would have been a statement win and a career resume builder for him. Off the jump, didn't win the game there. Plays Carolina, doesn't get the job done either, but actually had him in a position to where they could have won the game. I expect big things from Justin Herbert going down here. I really do see big things in his future.
I do too, and I think that the coaching staff, they know it. And they're going to start building the playbook around him a little bit more, and it's going to be a lot for him on Justin Herbert's plate. But like I said, when you got Tyrod Taylor there, you got Austin Eckler helping you out, and Keenan Allen as just as another one of your safety blankets as well. I definitely think he'll be up for the task and make a lot of make large strides.
I agree with you there. I think as well. Next game on the schedule, and this just makes me sad. I don't want to spend too much time on this game. The Colts and the Jets, 36-7. Sam Darnold throws 3 picks, 17 of 29, 168 yards. Reading these stats off is really depressing because nobody did good. Not a single soul in this offense was competent. The defense was horrific. I just don't want to talk about this game, Chris. I really don't. It's just not worth talking about.
If anybody needs to tank a season, it's the Jets.
And I'm saying, Chris, this is the
and
second
they're probably tanking it. They're not even trying.
and this is the second week I'm going to say it here. I'm officially nominating Stafford and Matthews to replace the current GM and president of the New York Jets. Because I'm telling you right now, we could already do better than what they're doing.
Absolutely.
We could probably do better we could probably do better than their last 3 GMs have done. Merch is on the way for that, by the way. We're making some shirts and hoodies.
First thing I'm trying to draft is an offensive line. That's the first thing I'm drafting.
You think a normal football guy would understand that process, but apparently the New York Jets are blind to that obvious opinion.
And of course, it goes back to that mantra of your city. When you have a lot, it's a lot going on, and it looks like it's not even the players. It's not even just the players. It's also the staff.
I'm with you 100% there. The Colts steamrolled the Jets. Nothing to really talk about here. The Jets are 0-3 on their way to the number 1 overall pick. And I really, really, really don't. I really hope that they don't mess up Trevor Lawrence's career path, because if he actually does get drafted by them, it might be a distinct reality. He actually becomes a bust because of the situation he's actually placed into in Gotham. So I'm praying, please don't take Trevor Lawrence, because you're going to ruin his career.
Trevor Lawrence, listen, Trevor Lawrence, bro, if I was you, I would hold out.
I would go full John Elway. I would go full Eli Manning.
Trade that pick.
I would go John Elway. I'd go Eli Manning. I'd do anything possible to avoid being a New York Jet, because it must be the most depressing, most agonizing thing as a player to be on that franchise in the current day. That's all I'm going to say.
And that's saying a lot, because you're still talking about one of historically one of the worst teams in the NFL, which is the Cleveland Browns, who has a curse on them. But now the Jets are coming up pretty close to that same type of curse that Cleveland Browns is having. I mean,
and that says something.
In the past years.
And that says something, Chris.
Seriously.
Going on to the next game here, a nail biter in Seattle. Final score 38-31. Seattle takes a W over Dallas. And our guy, Russell Wilson, 27 of 40, 315 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Second game in a row with 5 touchdowns throwing. Russell Wilson's on a tear. He's out to prove everyone and their mother that they were wrong about him. The Jaguars, fun fact, some trivia if you guys didn't know, took a punter before Russell Wilson was drafted. A punter.
He's third rounder.
Third rounder. First of all, begs the question, why were the Jaguars drafting a punter in the 3rd round? Because the Jaguars, that's the easiest answer we can give you. But like, Russell Wilson is on an absolute tear. This dude is going to win MVP. I don't think it'll be close. Has the most passing touchdowns through 3 weeks of anyone in NFL history, with 14 on the season so far. Russell Wilson looks to be the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Mahomes made a statement about it last night at Monday night.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Made a statement about it Monday night.
The best.
But Russell Wilson is neck and neck with Mahomes right now for the title of best player in the NFL.
But Joe, I want you to say this with me.
Okay.
And I want you to say it and mean it.
Okay.
When I say C, I want you to say Hawks. Okay?
Okay.
C.
Hawks.
C.
Hawks.
C.
Hawks. There we go.
Let's go.
We're on the same page, baby.
The Seahawks are going crazy right now. I swear to you. If this coronavirus stuff wasn't going on right now, the Seahawks the 12s, they probably would have tore that whole stadium down.
I'm about to say that it's
the whole stadium down.
It's crazy to think about.
They are having an amazing season. They had great pickups with Jamal Adams, even though he can't guard nobody. He's still coming in there, knocking people's heads off. The defense is looking amazing. Russell Wilson is looking amazing. Tyler Lockett is out there looking amazing, even though they still have DK Metcalf out there, who's doing a great job, who, made a bonehead mistake by leaving the ball out and not taking the ball. And I'm more than sure that they are harping on that this week, because that is something that they always talk about. is it's all about the ball. That's one of their mantras they have sitting up in their wall. I forgot exactly where it was, but it's on their wall somewhere where it's always say it's all about the ball. So I'm pretty sure that he has a football. He's walking around with it 24/7 in that facility. But they did an amazing job. They fought very hard. They fought very hard out there for that game, and they proved that they are the better team.
DK Metcalf really went full Leon Lett, didn't he?
Yeah.
He really did. He went full Leon Lett. And I have him in fantasy too, so I was really pissed. I was screaming at my TV. I was like, just put the ball in the end zone. It's just so frustrating. Exactly. It's a Pop Warner mistake. I'm sure he won't do it again, but dude, take care of the football. Anyway, on the ground here, Chris Carson, 14 carries, 64 yards, and no scores. Actually was injured in this game.
Yeah, that hurts.
And Pete Carroll came out after the game screaming about the defensive player on Dallas who actually held his leg and twisted it on the ground. What a dirty bonehead play to make. That's an Ndamukong Suh-esque play from his early years.
Or Bethel.
Or Beckham. With Josh Norman, exactly. But how can you, as a grown-ass man, as an athlete, who understands how much it takes to get to that level, to be an NFL athlete, to then try to take someone's career away like that? You have to be the scum of the earth, my friend. You have to be a whole another level of douchebag to be able to do that.
Absolutely. We talk about rookies not knowing certain things, not knowing, how to go about being a professional sometimes. But, things like that, whatever they call it, the alligator roll or whatever they want to call it, that's just something that, you've been taught since you're a little kid. Whatever stage that he was brought up, whether it was, from Pop Warner to middle school to high school, all levels, they teach you how to tackle, and that is not how you do it. That is just totally egregious, disgusting, and it's uncalled for. I would never. There was never a time in my career that I was like, I'm going to go down here and hurt this guy. No matter how much I dislike somebody or how much he pisses me off, it's never a time where I'm thinking of like, I'm about to hurt this dude.
100%. It's a horrible mentality to have, and I'm really sickened that actually happened in this football game. And
Absolutely.
Pete Carroll
have to do something. They have to find him.
And Pete Carroll has every right to defend his player like that and to go after the other guy. And this is the reason why Pete Carroll is so loved by his organization, because he's a player's coach. He goes to bat for every single member of that locker room. And it showed on Sunday. Receiving wise for this game, DK Metcalf, while he had that egregious touchdown drop there, 4 receptions, 110 yards and a touchdown. It's becoming my weekly catchphrase here. DK Metcalf is bigger, stronger, and faster than every single NFL defensive back in the NFL. Yes. And it's still being proved today. Tyler Lockett, our guy, who's actually coming on the show next week, 9 receptions, 100 yards even, and 3 scores. What did you see from the speedy wideout in Seattle?
That he's a vet. He's moving. He's taking all the right steps in the right direction to become a focal point on that team, and I think that he has been a focal point on that team for years now. It's more of I think he's taking a page out of Doug Baldwin's book and making it his team, even though that they have Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf out there who's lighting up the passing game. But Tyler Lockett is definitely a pro. He's definitely an amazing player, and people sleep on him all the time because Seattle's never really been known for wide receiver play, but they're slowly but surely showing that that mantra is changing over there.
100%. Going to the other side of football here for Dallas, Dak Prescott actually had a pretty good day himself. 37 of 57, 472 yards, 3 scores, but 2 interceptions that ended up costing them heavily towards the end of this ball game. Your guy Ezekiel Elliott had a bad day. 14 carries, 34 yards, a touchdown, 2.4 yards a carry. It's a fluke game. I like Ezekiel Elliott a lot. I think he'll bounce back next game. I'm not really worried about that. But it really did cost him a big loss here in the NFC, because when it comes to playoff time, I'm sure Dallas will be right there considering how poorly the NFC East is playing right now. It's going to cost him when it comes to playoff seeding. So we'll have to wait and see on that as the season comes along here. Receiving-wise, Michael Gallup led the day. 6 receptions, 138 yards, and a touchdown.
Unbelievable.
And little-known Cedric Wilson, 5 receptions, 107 yards, and 2 scores. Where the hell did this guy come from? And more importantly, why is the Cowboys not looking CeeDee Lamb's way?
Well, I can't really. I have to do a little bit more studying on CeeDee Lamb. Because I was very high on him. I actually drafted him in my fantasy because he was just somebody who I seen who just looked different on the field, on film. But yeah, it's about it's about being ready at the time when they call your name, and these guys is proving it. CeeDee Lamb, I feel like he's gonna step up. I don't think they're gonna stray too far away from him unless there's something that's going on internally that we don't know about yet. But other than that, yeah, I feel like they're doing a great. This is an off game. They're playing against one of the best teams in the NFL, the
Hawks.
Okay, come on now, Joe.
I'm sorry. It's a new thing for me. Give me a break. Anyway, go into this next game here.
I'm about to make you a Seahawks fan. That's what I'm about to do.
Send me some merch. I'm waiting for my Chris Matthews jersey. I'm waiting for the frames. I need something in the back here. I need something in the back. Yeah. Come on, feed me.
Yeah, I've got.
Oh, hi, Jimmy. Jimmy, say hi.
I'm gonna send y'all some info. I'm gonna send y'all some stuff. Watch.
I'm waiting. I'll send you the address. I'm waiting for that. Anyway, going on here, Tampa Bay and Denver. This was never really a question for me especially when we started picking these games because Drew Lock's out, Cortland Sutton's out, Phillip Lindsay's out. There's so many injuries. It was never really a question for me who was going to win this ball game. But I will say, Tom Brady in the first half looked like the Tom Brady of old from maybe even 2014. Tom Brady, 25 of 38, 297 yards and 3 scores. But mind you, all 3 touchdown passes were in the first half. Does that make a difference? Yeah, it does. And this is where stats start to lie. Because unless you have sustained success over the entirety of the football game, you can't really be applauded as the guy who won them the football game. You know what I'm trying to say? Because yes, they're up 21. I think it was 21-0 at halftime, right? So yeah, that's a huge, step in the right direction. But if Denver had been healthy and Tom Brady plays the same half football he did in the second half, do they win the football game? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
And the fact that it's a question is what's concerning for me when people say Tom Brady's all the way back because he's not all the way back. He's not all the way back. Keep that in mind. Don't buy into the hype just yet until I see Tom Brady go into Tom Brady mode. And what I mean by that is lock in, throw consistent passes over the entirety of the football game, 3 scores or more, over 250 yards consistently, over 50% completion percentage consistently without relying too much on the run game. He's not the same quarterback he was just a couple seasons ago. Keep that in mind. When it comes to running back stables here.
You just gotta understand that when injuries come into play, it's a lot harder. It looked like he was dependent on Chris Godwin to be in there to make the plays for him. Rightfully so. He's a really good player. You got Mike Evans out there who's still being consistent out there. But the run game was a little shaky for me. With Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette not producing as much as I thought they would have, especially with Leonard Fournette coming off the game that he just had the week before. I thought he would have been featured in this game a lot more, but it's a little shaky, like you said. I'm not totally sold on Tampa Bay either.
Yeah, and when it comes to the running back stable, like you just mentioned, they only had 68 yards total on the day. You don't win football games like that consistently, and history will show you this. If you have over 100 rushing yards a game, you have a very good chance to win the football game, especially when you have Tom Brady as your quarterback because he thrives off that.
Attack.
You need a balanced attack, and I'm telling you right now, and this is coming from the biggest Tom Brady fan in the world, if this rushing attack continues the way it has the last week, and they play teams again like the Saints, even right down the stretch, if they play teams in the playoffs such as like the Packers, they're going to lose the football game. Because Tom Brady has shown no inkling that he can win a football game by himself anymore. He has not shown that to me at
Absolutely.
all throughout this season. So keep an eye on
I'm
the run
glad you
game in
said
Tampa.
that. So you're agreeing with me that the last 3 Super Bowls that he won was not because of him.
No, I'm
You're
not.
agreeing with
I'm
me,
not.
right?
I'm no. I'm
Oh
not. I'm
my
not.
God. Oh my God.
You realize
You're gonna come around. You're gonna come around.
Chris,
After this season, you're gonna start saying that. Watch.
why? He's 43. I can just say that's the end of the road for him. He's not playing football anymore. Like I said, that's all I have to say. I have the easiest cop out in the world.
That's
I have
his
the
cop
easiest
out.
cop out in the world. Easiest. Oh my God. Anyway, going to the receiving here. My guy Scotty Miller, 3 receptions for 83 yards, led the day. But Mike Evans, interesting stat line here. 2 receptions, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can you complain about that?
Red zone target.
No, that's weight room. That's what it's called. It's called weight room. That's exactly what it's called. That's all I'm going to say on that matter here.
But listen up.
All right.
Chris Godwin's hurt. They're going to be looking for somebody else to come and step in and replace Chris Godwin for a little bit until he gets back. I'm going to stick with my guy. A lot of people don't know him, but he's been at the Jags, and he's been at Tampa Bay. It's the second time coming back with Tampa Bay, and I feel like, he is a hard worker. He is a Dorsey, Los Angeles Dorsey product where I'm from, by the name of Jadon Mickens. He is a guy that they've been talking about since training camp.
Okay.
He's a punt returner, kick returner. He's a guy that is a very hard worker, funny dude. Actually, you know what? We need to go ahead and get Jadon on the show as well, and let
Tell him to hop
speak
on.
his mind. Yeah, definitely. We definitely got to get him on there because he is definitely a hard worker, and he's all about football. And I feel like, they give him his chance and they throw him the ball, you're going to see a lot of special things come from him.
I hope you're right. I'd actually love to have an opportunity to talk to him about that because I think he is a special guy as well. I recognize the name as well. I remember him in Jacksonville a lot more than Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
But he definitely has some potential there. He's a good returner, and I'm intrigued to see if what you said comes to truth. Going to the other side of the football here in Denver, just an abysmal game offensively. Jeff Driscoll was the starter for Denver, if you guys didn't know. 17 of 30, 176 yards, a touchdown and interception. I don't really blame him because this team was decimated. I don't really blame anyone, frankly. Yeah. They were playing a good football team with a very, very good defense. They didn't have a shot to begin with. They did their best. Melvin Gordon, 8 carries, 26 yards, no scores, 3.3 yards a carry. I mean, it was not a good day for the Denver offense. So we'll move on from this game. But I'm just saying, coming from a New England Patriots fan, coming from a Tom Brady fan, pump the brakes on the Bucs right now. Do they look good so far? Yeah. But just pump the brakes. That's all I'm going to say here.
Yeah. Once it starts getting a little bit chilly out there, well, not for them, not in their area, but when they have to start traveling out to go to some of these cold areas, it's going to get a little bit harder for them because you got Rob Gronkowski out there who actually produced a little bit this game. Old age is definitely going to play a part. The joints is not going to be as squeaky and clean as, they are when they're at home, especially with your boy Tom Brady, who you keep on giving a cop-out to.
I just criticized him for like 20 minutes, dude. What? Come on. I'm trying to be –
I want more. I want more from you.
I know you do because you're still salty. He beat you in 49. Anyway, going to the next game here. Oh, look at his face. Look at his face. If you're watching on YouTube now, Chris just got so sad. Oh, my God. He gave me the mean mug right there. That was scary.
It's supposed to be right here.
I felt like Ladarius
I had it all mapped out. I
just felt like Ladarius Webb on a run block.
I was going to say that I'm married to the game. Now I can't say that.
That was mean, actually. I'm sorry. That was mean, Chris. I'm sorry. Going to the next game here, Arizona and Detroit. The surprise of Sunday. Matt Stafford and the Lions knock off MVP hopeful Kyler Murray 26-23. Matt Stafford, Uncle Matt on the day, 22 of 31, 270 yards and 2 scores, no turnovers. And our guy, Adrian Peterson, all day AP, 22 carries, 75 yards, no scores. While the numbers don't speak volumes when it comes to seeing those numbers at face value, he affected change in this game that won them the football game because
Absolutely.
he moved the chains when he needed to, especially in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And he did what he needed to do at a very old age to make sure they knock off one of the more youthful, elite teams in the NFL. So good on Adrian Peterson. I love seeing him succeed in this offense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm right there with you. I've always been a big fan of AP. He's constantly proved that he is a top level running back every team that he's went to. And when they keep on trading him, he keeps on getting better.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Overall, Detroit, they had a great, they had a good game. I'm gonna call it an okay game. Matthew Stafford made some throws where his receivers just made him look good. You can't really say too much about Detroit, man. I'm not really a big fan of Detroit, to be honest.
How about my guy Kenny Galladay though? 6 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown. That's something you can say for in Detroit. I like Kenny Galladay a lot.
He made especially the one pass in the third quarter over the middle where he threw it a bit high, and I thought it was going to be a pick, and he jumped up out of nowhere and caught the ball and made a touchdown. I was like, okay, that guy is is balling right now. That's how you get paid when you make your quarterback who's not looking as good look good. Mm-hmm. That's how you get paid.
Let's just say he's good at football. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
He's good at football. Going to Arizona's side here, Kyler Murray had a tough day. 23 of 35, 270 yards, 2 scores, but 3 interceptions. Also added 29 yards on the ground on 5 carries. Detroit's defense actually played a great game against Kyler Murray and company. Jamie Collins, I think, affected change a little bit as well, even though he had a kind of a limited role. Overall, my impressions, I think it's a fluke game. I think Detroit just played them exceptionally hard in the desert this week. But do I see it affecting them in the long term? No. I think Arizona probably still makes the playoffs. I think my prediction before the season was that 3 NFC West teams would make the playoffs. That still stands true. The Rams lost to the Bills, but they'll be fine. Arizona lost to Detroit. They'll be fine. Don't worry about the Cardinals just yet. But I will say if Kyler Murray has another game of multiple interceptions, I'll start to get worried because their entire game is predicated on protecting the football and running the football. If you lose the possession battle, you lose the football game. That's how I look at it. So Arizona needs to take care of the football overall, and if they do, they will be fine. But a bright spot on this offense on a very, very dark day, DeAndre Hopkins, 10 receptions, 137 yards, and no scores. This dude continues to ball out. His 3rd straight game of 100 yards or more. I mean, this is the best receiver in football right now.
Well, you see that he's learning. He's learning from one of the best that's still on the team, with Larry Fitzgerald. Mm-hmm. He's teaching them some things. I feel like that was like a match made in heaven, a blessing in disguise. If I was D-Hop and they were telling me I needed to go to Arizona, I would have been on the first flight.
Yep.
As soon as they had told me I'd been on the first flight, I'd have called Larry Fitzgerald like, let's work. Mm-hmm. Let's get this done. And I think that's what they're doing over there. He's learning how to be a professional, even though he already is one. He's learning how to be an even better one. He's doing a great job. I pray because it happens. It's a part of his career. But D-Hop, he does get hurt a couple times out of the year. Let's just hope that it's not in the crunch time where they actually need him. But overall, they had a solid game. Kyler Murray, that's a fluke. I don't believe that. I don't think that's gonna happen again. He's playing too good at a high level right now. But next week we'll see what happens.
100%. Going on the final game of Sunday night here, Green Bay and New Orleans. Now, before this game started, I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to wipe the floor with the Saints because they're missing Michael Thomas again, and they just looked really, really poorly last week. But I will give the Saints some credit here. Drew Brees stayed in the game for them. While they lost the game, they did show me a little bit of resilience without Michael Thomas there as their first option. Final score, 37-30. Aaron Rodgers continues to go on an MVP tear. 21 of 32, 283 yards, and 3 scores. No turnovers. That's the name of the game. Aaron Rodgers does not give you the opportunity to beat him because he doesn't turn the ball over. He takes care of the football, and he scores consistently. And the biggest guy, I think, for him going forward right now is little known Allen Lazard, 6 receptions, 146 yards and a touchdown in absence of Devontae Adams. If Lazard can keep this play up when Devontae Adams is back on the field, and you mix in guys like Mercedes Lewis, who had a touchdown catch, when you mix in guys like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's had a great start to the season, this offense, as much as we ragged on the Green Bay Packers for not drafting a receiver in this draft, it's still looking deep and it's looking deadly.
No, it is. It is. They look amazing. Lazard is definitely going to be a solid number 2 for them once Adams comes back, and Aaron Jones, he's looking good. Even though I'll admit it, I still don't necessarily like him as much, but he's definitely doing a great job with the run game, as well as being able to catch out the backfield, which is something that is really good for him. Valdez, he's coming on, he's looking good. They're looking good, but my thing is like I said before, Green Bay, they look good now, but as the later part of the season goes on, if you cannot stop anybody, it's going to be extremely hard. Now, let's just say this. Alvin Kamara is probably one of the most special running backs that's in the league playing right now.
No argument for me.
But you have to be able to tackle. That is unexcusable. Professional athletes, especially when you're talking about defense, when you're supposed to be the focal point of that team, where they put majority of their money in, you're supposed to be able to tackle. You're supposed to be able to stop people so you can give Aaron Rodgers the ball back to let him be great and do his thing. They're gonna have a real problem if they don't address that coming forth in this up and coming season.
100% there. And actually, speaking to Aaron Jones's point here, he had 16 carries for 69 yards and a score on the ground as well. Kind of anchored that offense down when Aaron Rodgers was kind of having some ruts in the second and third quarters. So, shout out to Aaron Jones, who's playing phenomenal football right now. Going to the other side of the football here. Yeah. Drew Brees, 29 of 36, 288 yards and 3 scores, no turnovers. Took care of the football, did everything he possibly could. His defense let him down. And I want to argue that actually. I want to take that back a little bit here. Aaron Rodgers beat the defense. The defense didn't let Drew Brees down.
Yeah,
I'm going to phrase it like that. I'm going to say
because
the defense played as well as possible, I would say. But Aaron Rodgers made some superhuman throws that were just uncoverable. And that's just how the game works sometimes. Aaron Rodgers is showing you, and I'm going to agree with you here, Chris, why he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, the Saints defense, they need to step it up as well, because I seen one play where, Lazard went down and caught a deep ball down the right side of the field. When he crossed the field and caught it on the right side of the field, he almost scored, which I honestly feel like he should have, But, that's another story. But he should have scored. But I watched that play, and I seen the defense, and they were in a zero blitz. And the safety is sitting playing outside technique in cover 0. And we know that that's not what you're supposed to do. He gave you a simple stick and then took it across the field. And then Aaron Rodgers just made an amazing throw like he always does. That's just unexcusable for the Saints. They need to fix that, be a little bit more sound technique in your coverages and on your technique and stuff like that. But overall, I feel like, the Saints are going to be good. 29 of 30. What did you say? 29 of 32 passing, 36 passing that Drew Brees had. I feel like 20 of those passes went to Alvin Kamara. And
I will say right now, he was targeted 14 times. He caught 13 of them. Caught 13 of them for 139 yards and 2 scores receiving. Just an unbelievable day for Alvin Kamara.
Absolutely. It seemed like every time Drew Brees dropped back, he was throwing it directly to Alvin Kamara. And he was catching the ball. So I don't see why you wouldn't throw him the ball.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. I don't understand. But then you still got Emmanuel Sanders, who's out there.
Well, so I will say here, Breeze tried to find him. I think the Green Bay Packers did a good job at hiding him a little bit, but
Yeah,
he still had 4 receptions for 56 yards and a score. Not a
yeah,
terrible day. It definitely, I think it's a
yeah.
building day. It's a chemistry day for Drew Brees and company to kind of get their offense synchronized and everything, because when Michael Thomas is in this system, it changes drastically. Kamara is not outside
Absolutely.
as much. Emmanuel Sanders is maybe not getting as many targets. So they need to find a happy medium where they can spread the ball around, because if they don't, they're going to be in trouble come postseason time.
Yeah, but see that's my thing. While Thomas is out right now, I feel like Emmanuel Sanders, who was a number one receiver, a number one proven receiver in this NFL when he was with the Denver Broncos, he can still ball. He can still flat out run,
Yes, he
which
can.
is amazing to me. Considering the injuries that he's had, these past couple of years, it just shows it shows a testament of how much a professional he is and how much he takes serious of his craft and his body. We need Emmanuel Sanders. I need Emmanuel Sanders to get the ball more, so when Michael Thomas does come back in, they're not just so focused on Michael Thomas, because that's just going to put more pressure on Michael Thomas to make the plays, and it put him in harm's way a little bit more when you just come off an injury and it might re-injure something or have a whole new injury. So I feel like that needs to be addressed. And there's nothing wrong with having a 3-headed monster,
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, a 4-headed monster, because Latavius Murray
Mm-hmm.
was
I agree
having a
with you.
good game.
I could
He
not
was moving the ball.
I could not agree with you more. The Saints, and I kind of try to say this, I don't know if I expressed it well enough. The Saints need to spread the ball around in order to win in the playoffs. And you saw it
Yes,
last year.
absolutely.
You saw it the year before. You saw it the year before even that. They can't be one-dimensional, or else they run the risk of
Absolutely.
being sent home very, very early. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Absolutely. And Sean Payton, I think Sean Payton will have something figured out. Even though it hasn't worked out the success hasn't worked out much for Sean Payton with his offense down the stretch of these past seasons. But if he wants that ring, which he's dying to get so bad for his golden boy quarterback, Drew Brees, he needs to be able to spread the ball around a little bit more.
I agree with you there. Going to Monday Night Football, and this was kind of a shock to me. I thought it'd be a shootout
Yeah.
all the way through. I thought it'd be in the 40s, even the final score. But the Chiefs just make a statement win, 34-20 over the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson came after the game and said, "They're our kryptonite." That's very interesting, because I think that the whole goddamn league's kryptonite the way they're playing right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire adds a whole nother dynamic to this offense they didn't have last year. And it's scary, because you really didn't think the offense can get that much better, and it's already that much better. The Ravens defense is playing staunch all season. One of the best units in the NFL, bar none. And the Chiefs made them look like they were Pop Warner. It was crazy. It was crazy. Mahomes, 31 of 42 for 385 yards, 4 scores, no picks. What more can you do?
I feel like they're biting. I feel like they're slapping their own hands right now for releasing Earl Thomas, even though that what happened in there wasn't the ideal thing to do by Earl Thomas, but at the same time, come on now, like the Ravens, we're not going to sit here and say that they're like the great team to go to that had a clean slate. They've had problems before with plenty of players back in the day, especially with one in particular who sits on TV and talks like he's just so clean cut and nothing is wrong with him at all, but is a Hall of Famer. They allowed him to stay there and grow and get better as a person, which I'm so happy for, because I'm not going to bring his name up because we all should know who I'm talking about. But he's a Hall of Famer. He's a great guy. But they allowed him to grow. So why wouldn't you allow a guy like Earl Thomas, who's not even coming close to a couple of other players that they had back in the day who had problems on their team?
I agree with you there 100%. You back the numbers here, though. The Chiefs had 4 players. Actually, I'll extend this here. 5 players of 60 yards receiving or more. Sammy Watkins, 7 receptions for 62 yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie, 5 receptions for 70 yards. Tyreek Hill, 5 receptions for 77 yards and a score. Mecole Hardman, 4 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. And Travis Kelce capped the day off with 6 receptions for 87 yards and no scores, only on 7 targets. This team can beat you any way they want to. They dictate the game, and it's scary what they can do when they're at full strength. It's terrifying. Going to the Ravens
side. It looks like they're playing college football. That's what it looks like. You're looking at Tyreek Hill. He's motioning across. Then he goes behind the quarterback, fakes one way, goes back the other way. He's setting people up. Defense is rocking down because they're scared of his speed. And they don't know if he's going to get the quick pitch and to go, the quick pitch to the outside. And he's not. He's sitting up here, being patient. Patrick Mahomes is he's having a season. When we're talking about Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson and all these D-Mod and all these guys who are rightfully so are really good players, it just looks like to me that Patrick Mahomes is just miles ahead of them.
Yeah, and the Chiefs defense, I think, played out of their freaking mind on Monday night as well.
Yes, they did.
Lamar Jackson, 15 of 28, only 97 yards through the air and a touchdown. No picks, however. On the ground, he added 83 yards on 9 carries. They neutralized Lamar Jackson, the Ravens offense, without Frank Clark, without 2 starting middle linebackers, without overall strength on the defensive end. That is so impressive. I can't overstate how much that impresses me. Lamar Jackson is an MVP-type quarterback for a reason. And the Chiefs made him look like he was an average player. That's a very hard thing to do, and I give them all the credit in the world.
I also want to say, Mark Andrews, bro, you hurt me this weekend with your play. I was so high on you, bro, that I took you in the second round, and you played. It just wasn't a good game. The week before, you didn't have a good game. It was an average game. Like, we need you to step back up, bro. I need you to step back up and play the game that I know you can play. I know Hards is going to be on you this week. Rightfully so he should, because you didn't have a great game. But, come on, man. Come back so I can get some high numbers for you, bro.
100%. I'm with you there. We're going to go on our next picks here. Week 3 is done. It's officially in the books. It's over, Chris. It's over. We're on to week 4.
What's the score? What was the score? What did you get? What did you get? What did I get?
I lost 3 games and a tie.
3 games. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So I don't even want to know what your record was. I think it was a little bit lower.
Yeah, I got to check it.
It's all right. Well, right now I think you're still up 2 games. I think that's what that math works out. I think you're up 2 games.
I'm not worried about losing.
Whoa.
It's the competitive juices in me, man.
You're being pretty cocky for someone who beat you by 7 games last week. I don't know what I'm going to say. Anyway, going to the next docket here. Week 4 starts on Thursday Night Football with the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets.
Yeah.
And I don't know who to pick in this game because Drew Lock is probably going to be out again. Cortland Sutton's out for the year, and Philip Lindsay's going to go on IR. Do I trust the Jets to not mess it up enough to get the W? And it pains me to say, I'm going to pick the New York Jets. And I never thought I'd say that the entire year. But just considering all the devastating injuries in Denver, I have to go with the Jets on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Denver Broncos. You still got Von Miller out there, who is the leader of that team, still out there causing havoc. So I'm definitely going with Denver. It's going to be a slow game, though, for sure.
That's going to hurt me, I think, coming back at me. If I lose that game, can you make fun of me, please? Like, write it down. Just, make fun of me for picking the Jets.
I'll write it down right now.
All right, just make fun of me. I'm telling you right now because I feel pretty disgusted with myself. I actually had to pick the Jets in the game this year. So, anyway, going to Sunday, 1 o'clock slate here. The Buccaneers and the Chargers. Justin Herbert, presumably the starter still. And this is a good football game, I think. I think the Bucs, I think the Bucs edged it out here because the Chargers defense looked really pitiful against Teddy Bridgewater. So I don't really see them faring as well when it comes to covering Mike Evans, when it comes to covering Gronk, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, in that running back stable. I'm going to go with Tom Brady and the Bucs there.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Chargers, and the only reason why I'm going with the Chargers is because of the second half performance that the Bucks showed us.
Okay, that's
Didn't
fair.
show me that they're going to be able to put a whole complete game together. No matter who you got out there, if you can't put it all together, it's not going to work for you. So I'm definitely going to go with the Chargers in their defense.
Next game on the docket here, the Browns and the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the Cowboys here.
Easy call.
Easy call. It should be an easy call. But if Dak Prescott blows this game after his performance in Seattle, it was so amazing. Yes, he lost the game, but he carried that team on his back. If he loses to the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to have some serious concerns moving forward if Dak Prescott's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I'm still picking Dallas, though.
Okay. I'm not even gonna entertain that. I'm just gonna say Dallas.
Okay. Next game on the docket here, the Ravens and the Washington football team. Ravens, no discussion here.
Yeah, Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens as well. They're gonna have the chip on their shoulder just off of losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're gonna come back. The defense wasn't looking too good. They're gonna have to put a mud hole in Washington.
The game I'm looking forward to most on the 1 o'clock slate here, the Steelers and the Titans, both 3-0, both playing phenomenal football. And this is such a tough game for anyone to pick, I think. I think it's going to be half and half across the board for every analyst out there because it's a toss-up game. Can the Steelers defense, who's playing phenomenally, stop Derrick Henry? Can Ryan Tannehill be, kind of contained in that defense? I think so. But the bigger question is, how will Ben Roethlisberger fare against the Tennessee Titans defense? I'm going to go with the Steelers here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers as well. I don't think that Tannehill is going to be able to pass much on his defense. Like I said, once you become one-dimensional, it's kind of hard to win games, like that. So I'm definitely going to go with the Steelers.
Next on the docket, the Seahawks and the Dolphins. I'm going with Seattle here, although I do think Ryan Fitzpatrick gives them a little bit of run for their money here because it is – actually, no, it's technically October now. It's technically October and when the game happens, right? Can you check the calendar here? Double check on this because that will affect my pick. It's October 3rd on Sunday. I still think Fitzpatrick gives you a game because it's early enough in the season, but it's Seattle. I think Seattle still gets the W there.
Yeah, I think Seattle's going to wipe them. I don't think it's going to be even close, to be honest with you.
That's fair enough. I mean, it very well could be like that, but I'm just saying it's early enough in the year where Fitzpatrick still has a little bit Fitz magic left in him. So I'm going to go with I'm still going with Seattle, but I just think Fitzpatrick might actually have a pretty good game.
Wait, is it in Miami or is it in Seattle?
I think it's in Miami.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter anyway. Like, Seattle's still going to win.
Oh, well, it does matter. It does matter.
Does it though?
It depends on,
I don't think it matters. I think Seattle still wins anyway. But I'm just saying, I think Fitzpatrick.
They're definitely going to win. It's just how much are they going to win by?
That's fair.
They'll probably end up winning by like 3 times.
That's fair. The battle of the disappointments, the Vikings and the Texans. I think it's going to turn into a shootout. And I think Deshaun Watson gets the first W on the year for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Houston will finally get that win that they need. They'll be able to exploit some coverages out there because of that defense is not looking too hot. But at the same time, I'm a little bit skeptical because that boy Justin Jefferson definitely showed me something to where that offense might change, and it might. You know what? I'm going with the Texans.
You going with the Texans?
Yeah, I'm going with the Texans.
All right. Final word there, I guess. The Saints and the Lions, which actually might be a better game than people give it credit for. I'm still going to go with the Saints there, but I think Matt Stafford actually has a pretty good day as well.
Yeah, I think the Saints will. That's going to be a wash as well. I'm definitely going with the Saints on that one.
1 o'clock games are starting to wind down here. The Jaguars and the Bengals. The Bengals are 0-2-1. Get their first W. Joe Burrow shows out and finally shows the NFL community that he can get a victory regardless of circumstance surrounding the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is going to be a little bit. I mean, it's going to give Joe Burrow a little trouble on that defense, especially with the countless blitzes that they're being able to show on that defensive side. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
The Colts and the Bears, 1 o'clock game here. This is very interesting. I'm going to go with the Bears here, even though I just call them frauds. I'm going to go with the Bears here because Phillip Rivers has looked really, really pedestrian. He hasn't showed me literally nothing. He was actually replaced by Jacoby Brissett towards the end of that football game. And I just think the Bears just squeak out a W here. I'm not really looking forward to watching this football game because I just don't think it's a very exciting game in general. But I think I'll go with the Bears here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bears as well. This is going to be another one of those sleeper games that you might fall asleep on and just pray that they come out with a win at the end.
Yeah, 100%. The Cardinals and the Panthers, Kyler Murray bounces back and takes off Teddy Bridgewater's head. I'm going with the Cardinals here.
Absolutely. Going with Arizona, Kyler Murray needs to have a bounce-back game. And, with the vest that he has around him, I'm pretty sure they're going to have him focus and, and have his head in the right area.
Yeah. Rams and Giants. Rams, I mean, the Giants don't have the weapons to compete with them. They don't have the offensive line. They don't have the weapons around Daniel Jones, and the defense is looking pedestrian as ever. The Rams just win this game. If there's any game on the docket, this is a wipe. This is the wipe you can look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going with the Rams as well. The defense is going to smash.
The Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs, 425 football.
Who you going with, Joe?
This is such a tough game. Oh, my God. And it's funny. This morning I was actually watching First Take, and Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith both said the Patriots were the number one threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. And I would actually agree with that because of coaching and a number of other factors. I'm still going to go with the Chiefs, but I'm praying I'm wrong. I am praying I'm wrong.
Going against your team? Come on, Joe.
But hey, you know what? I have to.
That's why I told you. Man. You better start becoming a Seahawk fan. We're gonna start seeing Seahawk signs in the background.
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
You'll be way out there in Boston. They're gonna be like, man, you over there with the Seahawks? Like, yeah, man, my guy Chris put me on.
I mean, like, if they're paying my paychecks, I don't care. If Seattle's paying my paychecks, I don't care. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to KC all the way. Even though I think it's going to be a good game, I feel like, Cam's going to be doing a little bit more running than this previous week, all because of injuries due to Kansas City. But, Kansas City's going to pull it out.
Bills, Raiders at 425. I'm going to go with the Bills here. I think the Raiders hit a kind of a rut against New England here. I think they kind of showed the blueprint on how to stop this offense. If Henry Ruggs is back, he's a little bit battered. The Bills secondary, I trust enough to contain him as much as possible. I'm going with Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm going with Buffalo as well. I think they've already proved enough that they can. They've proved enough that we can safely say that this will be a good one. This will be a win for them.
Yeah, and the final two games in the docket really disappoint me here. Sunday Night Football, 8:20, the Eagles and the 49ers. What a gross game. I'm going with the 49ers.
Yes, sir. I'm going with the 49ers. I think we're going to go out there and show them once again that we are the team to beat, even when we don't have anything. That's just a testament to our coaching staff and how hard we work and, how good California players are compared to everybody else in the States. This is just, it's going to be a game for sure, but, San Fran is winning.
And Monday Night Football, the Packers and the Falcons. I think Aaron Rodgers might drop 40 points on this defense. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers in the pack here.
Yeah, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers I'm going with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They're doing a great job. It might be a close game because both defenses are not looking really good right now, but it'll be a high scoring game for sure. So I think I'm gonna go with Green Bay, but it'll be close.
And that wraps up Stafford and Matthews picks for week 4 here. I'm 2 games behind. I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now because Chris Matthews is actually an NFL veteran, Super Bowl, hero. I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. I'm 20 years old. I'm in college. I'm feeling pretty good.
You should feel good. You should feel good until after these games show and they show that I'm the clear-cut winner again. Then you might feel certain type of way again.
These past couple episodes be coming from my neck, Chris. I do something to you? Like, Jesus. Anyway, before we wrap up here, Chris, any final thoughts?
just check out the Boston Big Three website. Go get some merch, man. There's a lot of great stuff out there. I can't wait to get my Cam Newton sweater, even though I'm not a real big Patriots fan, but it looks nice. I like it. I like Cam. I support Cam. Let's go.
My final thought is I want a shadow box of Chris Matthews jersey right there on my wall. That's what I want. I'm waiting for him to send it my way. I want it signed too, Chris. No lazy shit right there.
Yeah, no, I got you.
All right, Stafford and Matthews, episode 4. Hopefully next time we see you, we'll actually be joined by a guest. Whether that's Tyler Lockett, whether it's somebody else, we'll make it a surprise. Stafford and Matthews, episode 4, wrapping up. See you guys next time.